Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 377 of Spittin' Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. Howdy, gang. We had another outdoor game with a very surprising suspension. We had some missed calls we got to talk about, some more great milestones in the NHL, and the trade deadline is just a week away. But first, we got to check in with our boys. Mikey Granelli, producer. What's going on, my man?
What's up, boys? Went out to dinner Friday night, had a great time at Due West, but I ran into Scotty Darling, fellow Chiclets Cup champion, which got me thinking, Biz, we have some big Spittin' Chiclets Cup content coming out this week with the Big Deal Selects. I can't wait to see it.
Jesus Christ. You want to take that back?
He's imitating me.
Chocolate. He's still in Vegas. He's still Vegas voicing it.
Calorie sap.
Oh, Biz stealing the thunder.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I can't blame you, Granelli. We all have our fuck ups, even sometimes on national television, buddy.
Wait. Am I missing something?
You didn't see the clip? Biz called it the calorie sap instead of the salary cap.
So wait, time out.
I was looking for sap friendly all day. I couldn't find it.
That calorie sap.
No, Whit. So you might know because you worked at NHL Network. Some of these professionals, not a big deal, hitting you with the makeup with the paintball gun. When the producer, sometimes he talks in your ear, it completely fucks me up. It stops me dead in my tracks. The hosts and stuff, they could just keep talking over the guy talking in their ear. The minute the producer starts talking, it just completely messes with me. So I ended up saying calorie sap, and I was hearing about it online. But other than the meal with the old lady on Friday, what else have you been up to?
Nothing. Like I said, I just had a couple pops with Scotty Darling. We were talking a lot about the Chiclets Cup. I actually don't know if he'll be able to play in the next Chiclets Cup. I can't really disclose why. So we're going to be looking for more players.
He's holding out for more money. That's what he's doing.
Basically.
You stressed the videos coming out. We got one dropping Monday, so it would have already been released at 8 p.m. And then one coming out Thursday. It's a 2-part series of how everything transpired in the A division for the deck hockey. You saw Barstool's version with the roller hockey, but I wanted to give everybody a behind the scenes of how intense it is. The team that I assembled to go against the nose face killer, which is, as he would describe himself, folks, the 99 of deck hockey. And it's pretty raw. It's behind the scenes. You see every game unfold. So check out our Spittin' Chiclets YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And a big thank you to Sean Apuzzo for editing everything. He's been grinding it out. And I think each of those videos are going to come in at about 40 minutes a piece. So all you ball hockey fans out there, this will give you a little behind the scenes and I guess a look at how the tempo is for those Chiclets Cups coming up. We got the one in Buffalo. I think that's going to be July 22nd weekend. And then we're going to have one afterward. We're not going to divulge too much details about where the next one's going to be, but Buffalo, July 22nd, we're going to raise the bar and we're going to keep plugging away with these Chiclets Cups. It was a blast. I mean,
Clubs,
this might
Chiclets Clubs. You want to take that back, Biz?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, buddy.
Biz, fuck. Oh,
okay.
You started it.
Wow.
I love being the one person who could speak on this podcast. It's just such a good feeling. All three of you marble mouth morons can't even talk.
Don't worry about it, Draisaitl. I can talk.
Oh, yeah. Because pronouncing a name's the same as speaking, you dumb fuck. What's up, RA?
What's up, Worry? Where are you fucking being held hostage somewhere downtown with the parking cars behind you?
It looks like I'm in Iraq with this thing behind me, but that's actually Fort Lauderdale. Granelli hooked it up. I want to thank his buddy. I think his name's Pat Brothers. He gave me his office because we've talked about my crack house that I rented, Spittin' Chiclets memes with just a classic post of a G-Wagon outside of a full-out drug flop house on Instagram. So that made me laugh. But Pat Brothers' office is on East Broward Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. Just behind me looks like a parking garage that was possibly blown up, but still, I got phenomenal internet here. I'm actually streaming the final 4 or 5 holes of the Players. We're recording Monday around 5:40. It's been a rain-soaked weekend in Jacksonville. And how did I come off coaching on the videos? Because I haven't gotten a sneak peek of the Big Deal Selects, but I thought I did a pretty good job. No humble brag.
You're going to have to see on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe too, please.
Yeah. What am I, a pigeon? All right. And speaking of July 22nd in Buffalo, Everything's coming up Buffalo now, Biz. That city is fucking owning you. You're an absolute muppet. Those people are all up in your grill, all up in your mentions. And we have come to realize that the Leafs never disappoint. They get out to that hot start. They start buzzing. They start going. And then January comes and
before we get to the game, welcome to my shit list, the city of Buffalo, and all you idiots booing Jack Eichel.
I'm with you, Buffalo. I'm with you, Buffalo. Don't listen to Biz.
Other than the instigators, I don't want to mess with Craig Rivet. I don't want to mess with Andrew Peters. I definitely don't want Rob Ray on my bad side. But all the rest of you donkeys, lick my ball bag, okay? We'll get to you idiots later. RA, what were you up to this weekend?
Dude, I've been the captain of the boring team lately. After we recorded last episode, I got fucking bombed. I couldn't fall asleep. Like, Granelli was trying to get me. I literally slept till 8 o'clock the next
Drunk,
day.
you
I was
mean?
so exhausted. Yeah.
He slept till 8 p.m. the next day.
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
8 p.m.?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I hadn't slept. I told you I didn't sleep great the night before, and I didn't have anything on my schedule. I'm like, I didn't set the alarm. I didn't think I was going to get up that late. I got up to like 33 missed texts. I was like, ugh. I went to our thread right away. Fortunately, you guys weren't waiting on me. Granelli was waiting for a swipe up, which I got to him in time, but I was just exhausted, man, and I didn't have any reason to set the alarm. And
what time? I know, but not setting the alarm, like, is it possible 11 a.m.? What time did the head hit the pillow to then wake up at 8 p.m.?
It was light out because G called me at 4. We had to retape something. I was still like wide awake. Yeah, I'm a night owl anyways. And then sometimes like when you have a few beers and you just like drinks and you just like wide awake even more. And yeah, it was just I don't know. I probably got 10 hours at some point. But no, Biz, I've been legit boring as fuck. I actually Saturday I hadn't seen my mother in 2 months. She was down in Florida for the winter, so me and her went to Santapio's, the best pizza place in Boston. I tweet out the picture the other night, and it always starts a big pizza beef like thing in Boston, and people like Regina, but I'm a huge Santaps guy, so I went there with my mom, had some dinner, and then watched some hockey Saturday night. But yeah, I've been fucking lame as fuck lately.
That's okay. All right.
Yeah,
sometimes you just got to rest and recharge those batteries before the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And catching up on some movies and shows and stuff. The Oscars are coming. I got some catching up to do there as well.
Speaking of shows, we'll get into the hockey in a minute, but you pumped the tires of this show on HBO about the Los Angeles Lakers 80s dynasty, correct?
Yeah.
What was it called?
It's called
Winning Time?
Winning Time, based on the book Showtime by Jeff Pearlman.
All right. I watched the first episode. It's one of the worst shows I've ever seen in my life. What the fuck is that?
What the
fuck
style
is that?
It brought him back to his glory days.
There's a lot of
his glory hole days, buddy. This show, Biz, it like they pause it. It's like the goofiest, weirdest, brutal show. Maybe it gets better, but RA. I'm a recommendations from RA type of guy. I was motherfucking you in the living room at 11 p.m. What is this guy talking about? What do you like about that?
I don't know. Maybe because I grew up with it, and it is like sort of a stylized version telling a story. And there's a lot of fourth wall breaking, Biz. Like, when they look at the camera and talk directly to the camera, there's a lot of that stuff going on. I don't know. It's sort of, I wouldn't say cartoonish. It's just funny, man. It's just entertaining. I think John C. Reilly does a good job. Although
he was good.
Although I will say, episode 2, they bring in Red Auerbach, and who plays him is Michael Chiclets, who played the commish and played the Vic Mackey on the Shield. But
Shield, unreal show.
I love Chiclets, but I don't know if he was the best guy to play Red Auerbach. Like, just because it's like you're laughing at it, but like it's not supposed to be funny. So like, it's a show about the Lakers, man. I'm not gonna have fun watching it. It's entertaining so far. But I'll tell you one other show while we're talking about it. I'm highly recommending. It's called Southside. It's on HBO Max. I think the first season was on like maybe Comedy Central, and they didn't renew it, and HBO Max bought the rights to it and like made a second season. And it's about like people on the south side of Chicago. Dude, this show is fucking hilarious. I haven't heard anybody really talking about it. Absolutely funny show. It's about a couple guys. They work at like one of those like rent-a-center type places, and then there's a cop. It's a black guy and a black lady. But the black cop, he's like the guy. He's like a white person. He's kind of he's like a dorky white guy. He's like kind of a hood rat, and like the way they fucking mesh with each other and stuff. Honestly, check it out, dude. You'll know right away. Like first couple episodes, if you like it. It's a half-hour sitcom, so 22 minutes basically with no commercials. Super funny, man. I highly recommend it if you're looking for a funny show, man. Good stuff. So maybe give that one a whirl. If I'm 0 for 2, then maybe I'm all done with that.
So I went over to Naples. My mother's birthday was March 10th, day before Busy's. Busy, happy birthday, buddy. Little
Thanks,
belated
buddy.
action, but that was a nice thing to see you turn what, 38?
7.
Right?
Ooh,
37.
don't want to make any
You're
trouble.
you're 2 years younger than me. Yeah, it must be nice. The West Coast dummies the East Coast of Florida. I'm sorry. Like, what are people even arguing about the East Coast for? The West Coast, the beaches, the sunsets, the lack of just trash everywhere. It's just not even a debate whatsoever. I am a West Coast Florida guy. I could not believe the difference. Now, granted, I'm in Fort Lauderdale, which is a real dump in my mind, but still, even Jupiter that I really enjoyed, that's East Coast, the beaches, the waves, the wind. Get over to the West, get over to the Gulf of Mexico, get over to that side, and that's where the living's easy. So I'm done up the East Coast of Florida.
I thought that was going to be a segue to the fact that Tom Brady dropped an absolute nuke on Twitter last night. Well, we're recording this Monday, so he dropped it on Sunday after a trip. He went to see Manchester United. Now, does the owner of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers also own the Manchester United?
The Glazer family, yes.
Oh, my God. These guys must be fucking swimming in money. Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. Well, I could believe it.
Yeah.
But why didn't he just not retire and then make Schefter look like a complete idiot? It's like my wife's convinced that it was all planned, that the team knew, and this I don't really agree with her, but it is kind of odd. Like, the funniest things I saw right away was that he spent a couple weeks with his wife. He's like, nope, I am not done playing. I think Barstool Chief had a tweet that went viral that said Giselle made Brady go to Home Depot and something else on one Sunday, and he said, fuck this.
Hey,
but I don't know, guys.
2 weeks with the old lady, 10-year extension for Brady.
He's like, wait, this is what it's like. What the hell am I doing?
Yeah, no offense.
I don't think that he actually ever used the word retired in whatever statements he made.
That's what my dad said.
He never actually come out and said, I'm retired, I'm done. He euphemized things. He kind of like used code words or whatever, but he never actually said I'm retired from the NFL. So I think he kind of left that door open. And Jerry Thornton, God bless him, our Patriots guy, he kept saying it. It's not closed yet. The door's not closed yet. And lo and behold, he did it. So, fuck it, man. I love it. Like, why wouldn't he come back after the season he just had? I mean, if they could have got a stop, he might have won another Super Bowl.
I forget who the guy that Jimmy Traina had on. This is a guy who works for Sports Illustrated. I've been on a show before, his podcast. He does great interviews. He gets great guests. And there was a guy on there, and I think I saw it, I think last Thursday or Friday, and he was convinced that he was going to come back, but he was going to go to the San Francisco 49ers.
It was Mike Florio, Biz. It was Mike Florio.
Mike Florio.
Oh, he's a pussy.
Talking about
Okay, ding, ding, ding. Let's go. Can I get out my thought before you rip this guy for whatever reason?
Go ahead, and then I'll tell you. Go ahead.
So he was convinced that the reason that he retired, or quote unquote said that he was done playing, was to try to get the release from Tampa Bay, because he ended up restructuring his deal and signing a 2-year extension to maybe help with the salary cap last year. And he was assuming that the Glazer family and ownership was in fact going to finally get him to, or release him, so he could move on to San Francisco. So when I heard that he was coming back via text, I thought, oh, fuck, then everything he said must have been true. But I don't know if it was ever the case that if he was going to come back, he was going to try to move teams.
I just think that what Brady's accomplished, it's just, I completely understand him wanting to play. And the season he had, all right, you're right. Like, he was one of the best players in the league. So it is really hard to say, like, and he did mention years ago he wanted to play to his 45. So he's now doing that. The whole thing is just kind of odd. Like, why go about, even if he didn't say the word retire, it's just weird. Like, to not say the word retire makes me think that he did know he was going to play, but just come out and say, I am done. It's just kind of odd. And usually I'll use the analogy, when you're skiing, if you guys ever go skiing and people say, let's go for one last run. Well, that's when you tear your ACL and break your vertebrae in half. It's like the one last run usually ends pretty poorly. For a guy like this, I doubt that'll happen. But I liked how he went out. He had an unreal season. He had this ridiculous career, the greatest of all time. Will Compton, one of my Bussin' with the Boys fellas, he said The dude's won 7 Super Bowls, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 NFL MVPs, along with many others. And he says he's still got unfinished business. What the hell? What unfinished business does he have? But you know what? At least we get to watch him play again. If it was with the Patriots, that's another thing. It just hurts me seeing him play for another team. I love the guy, but I was ready for him to be done. But I mean, if you're not willing to accept the fact and understand it's over, you will be depressed. You will struggle through the next year. And he just could tell. I mean, he wasn't ready to be done.
And he's probably trying to pump the clothing brand too that he just started. Now, what's the beef you got with Florio?
He's just such a little prick. He's just such a condescending asshole. And I've never liked him. I can't stand the way he tweets. He sent a tweet last night. The reason I just thought of it was, this is his tweet. I've gotten some interesting, unsolicited, and hostile text messages tonight from someone with a recognizable name who at no point asked to go off the record. I'm going to treat them as off the record as a courtesy to the person who has sent them, even though I shouldn't. You bitch. Like, what kind of tweet is that? Like, either say, like, what are you even talking about? That's so typical Florio. His Twitter is pro football talk, and he's a clown. Do you understand how ridiculous that tweet is?
That's
like,
a ridiculous
What
tweet.
is that tweet? Like, who are you, buddy?
I don't know. All I can say, Whit, is welcome to the west side of Florida. I've been singing its praises for a long time.
Well, I'm not talking about Daytona and Panama Beach, though. I'm talking Naples.
That's the Panhandle, buddy. I've been going to Tampa, Sarasota for 30 years, boy.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. My first Uncle Mitch, the crazy ice cream man, my uncle. Yeah, I started visiting him like 91 on St. Pete Beach. So yeah, I love that area. It's a good spot. All right, boys. Any final thoughts before we move along to the pucks here?
I just can't wait. I can't wait to hear Biz's opinion on a couple things going on in this league. He's going at Buffalo. His team's in disarray. My Oilers are buzzing. Go ahead, though. We could begin with the hockey discussion.
Okay. Well, first off, you guys, you know what week it is, gang. Especially if you're in Boston, Chicago, New York, Savannah. It's St. Patty's week, and I know you usually think green with St. Patty's, but you can also think pink as well. Pink Whitney, that is. So you either load up on it for your parade party or you stop by your favorite local watering hole and you order up some there. Pink Whitney. It goes great with the crack on St. Patrick's Day. Slanche. All right, gang. We had another outdoor game I mentioned up in Hamilton. They call it the Ham. I never realized that. The Hammer, Hamilton, Ontario. And the Buffalo Sabres, for the second time in 11 days, put an absolute drubbing on Biz's Maple Leafs. They won 5-2. Before the game, Gretzky got a nice little tribute to his dad, Walter, and all the hockey parents and grandparents out there. It was pretty nice. But as for the game, Vinny Hinostroza had 2 goals and an assist. But his goal on Peter Mrazek that broke the 2-2 tie became the game winner. I just added more questions about the Leafs goaltending situation here. A couple stats on the internet. Worst save percentage in a calendar month in Leafs history. March 2022 so far is number 3 overall in however many seasons they've been around. I'm new to hockey. Somebody asked me, is this bad? Team save percentage this month. They had 9.53 in November. It's 8.48 right now. And the final one, lowest save percentages since January 1st. Jack Campbell, number 2. Peter Mrazek, number 6. Biz, this is your team, and that's not even the worst of it. Your boy, Austin Matthews, I know he was having a nice little battle with, what's his name? Rasmus Dahlin there. Ends up cracking him in the head with his stick, gets a 2-game suspension, kind of adds a little insult to injury here with the Leafs. What's the story, Paul Bissonnette?
I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of hearing about Leafs goaltending. I'm sick and tired of hearing about the team defense. I'm sick and tired of hearing that Austin Matthews isn't the MVP. I'm sick and tired of seeing Witt's ugly bum chin on Twitter chirping Leafs goaltending. I'm stressed. I'm full of anxiety, and it's all because of the Leafs. And it's pathetic. I really don't have anything else to say. This team has taken everything out of me to the point where I went to scrub my toes in the shower and I threw out my back because of all this stress and anxiety. And I couldn't even put a thought together on the broadcast trying to defend these bums. But as I mentioned on Twitter, I'm a ride or die. I'm sticking by these guys. I'm convinced that Dubas is going to pull a rabbit out of his ass and figure this thing out. To lose to the Buffalo Sabres twice in a 2-week span at 5-1 and then 5-2 with the goaltending still being off the rails. I guess I'm at a loss for words. I don't know how to summarize it. I don't know why it's happening to me. I don't know how Leafs fans have been doing this for as long as they've been doing it. My heart goes out to you, all the people who have been doing this for your entire lives. And I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired.
So they're either going to play Tampa, Florida, or Carolina, correct? Are we pretty close to assuming that will be the case? Right?
Let me see. Yeah, basically.
Okay.
I would say.
Do you think they get it to 5 games in any one of those series? Do you think they can win one playoff game, Biz?
I think if they can figure out something at the trade deadline and get Muzzin back and get their mojo going and keep up with the offense the way it's been pumping out goals, they've hit rock bottom. So right now, if they played starting today, no. But all I keep hearing, though, from people online is it doesn't matter until playoffs comes around. So even when they were having success, it didn't matter. So why would it matter now?
I wouldn't think that I'd be the guy to give you a little bit of positivity and possible look into like how this thing could switch around. But the what is it called? Goals saved above expected. It's one of those advanced stats at J Fresh Hockey. It is insane where they're at right now. I'm talking like if you could see this chart, see that line? It's like the stock market. It's just insane. Boom, straight down. So if that's based on a stat that usually can level out and be at some certain spot for most teams, you would think this would change. But it just doesn't really matter. I just look at their team. They have Matthews, who probably is top 3 MVP, even though a very dirty cross-check. I'd like to hear your opinion on that. And they have Marner, who's unreal. Nylander's slowed down. He doesn't look like the player he was earlier in the season. And Muzzin coming back, yeah, that's a big addition. But, is that really going to be the game changer? I just think that this team, as I said at the beginning of the year, is not built to win. And Leafs fans, let me tell you, you are the biggest bunch of whiny pieces of shit on the internet. I can't even believe how these people act. It is something out of a novel, out of a fantasy fiction novel, that these people are real human beings, the way they tweet and talk to me online. It's unreal. You are the biggest, whiniest, baggiest, softest, loserist, scrubbiest.
All right, we get the point. Move on. Fuck.
What is going on? What Leafs fan in their right mind actually thinks that Matthews didn't deserve that suspension? What is going on?
Well, let's back it up. Let's back it
a guy in the face.
Let's back it up here.
I'm surprised What About wasn't trending.
I think Darlene gave it a little bit of a whiplash of his own there. Now, no. Let's back it up. Earlier in that shift, Matthews ended up throwing a hit along the wall to Darlene, and then Matthews went to the net. And as Darlene was coming back to the net, he took a run at Matthews. Matthews didn't have the puck, and he hit him right into the crossbar. So Matthews got up. He gave him one back. What did Darlene do? He gave him one back. Did Matthews come over the top at the cross check? It was a fucking love tap, old time hockey, sticking up for himself for the retaliation that Darlene gave him for the hit along the wall. I thought he should have got 1 game. I think 2 is absolutely fucking ridiculous for not only the MVP of the season so far, but for a guy who's got a history of being, I think, 2nd in line and 3rd in line the past couple of years for the Lady Bing. You know what that is, Whit? That's for a classy player.
Gentlemanly play.
You put him over the line and you take a run at him for him delivering a clean hit. He took a clean hit in the middle of the ice from Cousins and he didn't retaliate. Why does Darlene get to retaliate?
I think we are living in a fantasy world, all right? These Leafs fans, let me tell you, Biz included, they cannot look themselves in the mirror. It's like a little kid who gets caught doing something and says, but, my brother, but it's just, don't worry about Marchand. I saw a bunch of clips of Edmondson cross-checking Wayne Simmons in the face last year in the playoffs. That was bad. I'll say the difference was there was no sort of attempt to get him in the shoulder that then rode up and got him in the face. That's kind of what Edmondson did. If you could complain and say I'm wrong, but it's true. And that's what's happened. Matthews went straight to the jugular, straight to the jaw of Darlene. And you know what? You're right. He had a hell of a hit on Darlene. He ran him over. And Darlene was pissed off, but you just can't do that.
You just said it. You just said it. Thank you very much. That's my case. It should have been 1 game, not 2, if any. And as I said, if you watch it and you slow it down, he grazes his neck. It just barely touches it. And then he gives it the old, that's like you in front of the net when a fucking D-man would come to, or a forward would try to get to the net and he would touch you. You'd give it the old.
No, Biz. I'd probably have an ankle issue that I ended up stepping in a rut. I wasn't a diver, or I'd maybe step around him and try to pickpocket him and get the puck going the other way, second assist. I think that Leafs fans really need to look themselves in the mirror and understand that the world does not revolve around you. You may think it does. You may think you're the center of everything. And I have said many times before that Toronto is kind of the center of the hockey universe. But look yourself in the mirror and understand your team stinks. You do not have a Stanley Cup contender. And don't be mad at me and don't be mad at other people online and don't bring up the Oilers. Yeah, am I trying to say the Oilers are like a wagon? No. But at least they don't have their superstar player taking suspensions as they can't get a save. Because we've had many times this season when the Oilers couldn't make a save and you don't see McDavid cross-checking people in the face.
I'll take some accountability here. I thought the fact that they started Mrazek and they didn't go to Eric Kallgren, who ended up
that was crazy.
That was crazy. And I think that what the excuse was is we don't want to put him in for his first NHL start with Toronto on a national broadcast in an outdoor game. Why not? You got a week before the deadline and you know exactly what you got in Mrazek because we've been seeing it all season. He's not able to get his game back to where it was in Carolina. Mind you, that team defense, and we'll get to that later, is a lot better. And that's probably why he had the inflated save percentage and a better GAA. Why not put the kid in? He had a great second half to that game against the Coyotes. The only goal that he let up was when Chychrun ended up holding Matthew's stick, and we'll get to the officiating later too, which has been a bit of a gong show. You got to go to the kid in that game. And then that soft goal to make it 3-2 just completely deflated the Leafs. And once again, it's the goaltending that's let them down. Other than that, I don't see a ton of issues with the Leafs other than maybe they got to button up the team defense. So, RA, I'll send it back to you. No more excuses. Yeah. Dubas has a 1 week or now 6 days when this podcast comes out to pull a rabbit out of his ass and fix this problem, which is the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I hate to say it because I think that he's done a lot of good things. He's going to be trying to save his job because if they don't, I think there's not a chicken dick's chance in hell that they miss playoffs. But if they get beat out first round, they're MLSC and Shanny and the rest of the crew, they're going to have a very difficult decision to make.
Sorry, RA, before we go to you.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll finish with this. All the shit talking and all these people saying these horrific, horrible, mean things to me about myself and my ears and my career and my family as Leafs fans online.
And your bum chin.
You guys, butt chins are kind of forms of power, I would say, like alphaness.
Kirk Douglas.
Look at Tom Brady, he has one.
Kirk Douglas.
Miracle. Leafs fans, I'll finish. You cannot say one thing to any fan base besides maybe the Florida Panthers. Leafs fans, you think about it. What can they say to any franchise? Nothing. They're scrubs. Your team stinks. And it's stunk for a long time. And no team is as bad as you guys have been over the course of the past 50 years.
To deflect a little bit here too, though, credit is due to the Buffalo Sabres. They've been playing some really good hockey. They've been inspired. That Tuck trade looks better and better as the days go on. They got some young studs in that lineup. Cousins. Is it Tage Thompson?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that kid's a player. He's a monster.
He is a gazelle out there. I think he's going to get 30 this year, and I think they have a future captain in Alex Tuck who wants to be there. And also, congrats to Craig Anderson, man. This guy's drinking out of the fountain of youth. What was that? Win 301 for him?
Yeah. Yep. Jumping ahead there. Yeah. Craig Anderson, he got his 300th win the game before that, the game that Jack Eichel returned to Buffalo. He's just the 6th American goalie to do so, Biz, the 39th overall. And this is a guy, I think he's maybe gotten maligned in some quarters over his years. And I mean, I don't know if you'll call him a journeyman. I think their journeyman bounced around a lot more than him. I mean, this guy was a starter in 3 different cities. And we mentioned before, he has the 4th highest save percentage in the playoffs in NHL history. And it's only he played 7 games. He played 48 fucking games. I mean, this guy is grinded. Everyone thought he was done last season. He played for the Capitals. He wasn't great in the playoffs. They used him sparingly. I think he thought he was done, and then Buffalo had some injuries. They brought him in on the Buffalo special, $750K. I thought that was a great little sidebar to the Jack Eichel story. Which, well, actually, we get to that one sec. Because one other thing I wanted to cover from the outdoor game, we had to bring it up: the outfits that they showed up, and the Buffalo showed up in the
Village Tropics, people.
The semi-pro, and then the Maple Leafs were dressed as the Deuces from Fraggle Rock back in the day. I didn't realize Hamilton's a steel town, and they were dressed as steelworkers. I didn't realize steelworkers dressed in those exact uniforms. But what we should take on those, Biz, going in?
I mean, I don't the Flint Tropics thing. I just didn't get like the correlation. I thought it was pretty funny. I mean, you could see some of their ball bags given how short the shorts were. With the steelworker outfits, I just think, hey, maybe just focus on winning the fucking game instead of getting dressed up for show and tell.
Yeah. I think the Flint, it was just more or less getting dressed in like what do you call it, shorts and a tank top in the cold weather. I think it was kind of like what the Blues did as far as showing up in tropical gear.
Wasn't the Flint Tropics because they all said they were playing in the Flint, Michigan Mega Bowl, which was the game at the end of semi-pro where they played and it was for nothing. It was like a big championship game, but they were playing for nothing, basically like the Heritage Classic was.
Well, they were playing for something because they were playing to get into that top NBA league, because if they ended up getting fourth place, that was for them.
No, but they won. They won the game and they still didn't get into the league. That's the whole point. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Craig Anderson, quick. Mean. It was nuts. He had like a 7-8 year run where he had this ridiculous, phenomenal year followed by a brutal year. So maybe he hasn't gotten the respect because he was unreal bad. It was for a long time, but 301 wins. That is no joke. And to do that this year with a team that struggled and finally really turned it around, I'm happy for the Sabres fans. I really am. I never hated Sabres fans. I couldn't stand the ownership on how they handled the Eichel situation. We'll get into that a little bit. Go ahead, RA.
Well, yeah, I suppose we can jump into that right now because obviously, like I said, it was Eichel's first game back in Buffalo since the trade. And, you know, he gave that quote after the game. Gee, run the quote.
This is about the loudest I've heard this place ever. Really, after it only took 7 years of me leaving for them to get into the game. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was mixed. You know, it was a nice tribute, and you know, there was plenty of people here that were supporting me, and there was plenty of people here that were booing me. So they must just be booing me because they wish I was still here. I don't know. You know, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not the first kid to deal with it, so just move on. And yeah, it was a tough game. You know, give them credit, they played hard.
You know, I thought it was a bit of a head scratcher of a quote. I mean, you know, he throw. I think are they booing because I'm gone? I don't know if he was like trying to be funny or sarcastic or whatever. But I mean, I'm not surprised he was booed at all. I mean, he did request a trade before all the injury stuff came to light. You know, I can understand if I was a Sabre fan, I could. It's not like, oh, they have no reason to boo him. So I don't know if he was just upset with the loss or whatever, but you know, and I know like Biz, you alluded to the after the whistle guys, Andrew Peters and Craig Rivet, they had very harsh words for him. And you know, we're not in Buffalo, we're not maybe privy to the stories that these guys hear, but they had some real harsh words for him, and you know, they didn't really get into specifics, but just the track record he had there. And again, I don't know exactly what they were talking about, but these guys are former pros. They played there. They seem to have some information maybe we don't get, but I don't know. It was just kind of like it could have been. He could have just maybe said, "Oh yeah, it was a good game," blah blah blah, and that would have been the end of it. And now it feels like it's still a festering wound.
Yeah, I saw that and I was a little bit surprised. I also understand that when a game ends, a game that definitely was emotional for him to go back after everything that happened, you're certainly pissed off. You're upset. And I wouldn't, you know, say this. I haven't spoken to Jack, but I would guess he kind of wishes he didn't say that stuff because in the end, he's gone. It's over now. But you only just open it up even more. Now, every single time he goes there, he is public enemy number one. Where actually over time, it might have gone away. They're not in the same conference. Things would have changed. Now it's like this guy's the most despised person in Buffalo. And I'll say, for fans to boo him, I totally understand that, right? You want to be traded. A fan base looks at a guy that says, "I don't want to be here anymore," and they say, "All right, well, we're done with this. We don't like this guy, and anytime he's here, we're going to give it to him." But my issue was never with the Sabres fans. It was with the ownership. This whole entire situation, I've had so many tweets and messages from people, "You better call out your boy Eichel. This guy's an entitled prick." It's like, all right, well, one, I am friendly with him. I heard from him the entire thing as it was going on, and the ownership wouldn't let him get the surgery he needed and wanted. He now has it. He's healthy. He's scoring for Vegas, who really as a team is struggling. Oh, yeah. So the fans were never something that I looked at and said, oh, well, what's wrong with these people? Like, I don't agree with these Sabres fans. They always had the right to dislike him. I didn't know anything. In terms of Rivet and Peters, I haven't heard stuff on what he was doing. I don't know what he was like around the team, around the media. So I'm not privy to say, like, that he is an entitled kid. I don't know him that way. But to give quotes like that, it's an emotional little press conference he did after a tough loss when you're hearing yourself being booed, and there's just kind of no reason to talk about how loud the fans were and how they were never loud when you were there, because the team struggled when they were there, and they've done well in attendance for a lot of the years that they were struggling. Buffalo is a big-time sports town. They love the Bills. They love the Sabres. When the team's been good in the past, it's been a crazy atmosphere to play in, and the team wasn't good for a long time. So I think that he would look back on that and say, oh, fuck, I kind of opened up a can of worms there that I didn't necessarily have to. I was pissed off that we lost. I was pissed off that Tuck ended up kind of stripping me of the puck for one of the goals. The other guy in the trade, Peyton Krebs, he had a goal. Did he have 2 goals, actually? No, he had 2 goals on the
against the Leafs.
Yeah, sorry. So excuse me. So it was a tough look for Eichel. I'll say that.
I loved it. I don't care if there's a rivalry there. Fuck, every time he touched the puck, they booed. It was the team is
not everyone did though. They showed the video.
Well, there was one guy who had a sign who said, "Sorry, Jack, we tried," or something like that, right before the game behind Emily Kaplan, where they do the between the benches interview. Now that was funny. But as far as every time he's touching the puck and booing, and then when they do the video tribute, even louder boos, fucking rights, unload after. And it's, hey, more rivalries like this. So like you said, every time now when he goes back, it's going to get louder and louder with the boos. And I hope next time he goes back, he shoves it right up their hoop. No spit, no lube, sandpaper finish. And it's just like, it's like Men in Black, how short their memories are and how many years he still showed up and had all-star type seasons despite the junk that was surrounding him because the organization didn't have any type of competence. Now, any of these stories that these guys have about maybe what he was doing off the ice or how he maybe treated people, I don't understand what type of ammunition you would have against Jack other than the fact that at a certain point he just was fed up with the incompetence of the organization. And then on top of that, them saying, no, we want you to get this surgery, which we know was going to cause him more problems later on in life. And now he's gotten the surgery that he wanted and he's back to playing at the level that he needs to play.
Okay,
regardless of how you feel about it, I think he has every right to tell him to fuck off. And I guess they got every right to boo. And I got every right to tell those idiot fans, fuck you, because he did everything he possibly could for the organization, carrying them on his back for the 7 years that he was there.
Okay, I do agree with all what you said, but are you not surprised fans booed? I mean, like, dude, it doesn't matter what sport we're talking about. If somebody requests a trade, and not to mention, it's somebody who was drafted as the future and things didn't go well. It was not his fault. But Biz, like, when you have a high pick and the team's bad the whole time he's there, and then he requests to be traded, like, I don't agree with these people, but I see how they're booing. Don't you?
Well, check the attendance all this season other than that game. So it's like most of the fans seem to have given up. And even the ownership said there's no crossover between the Bills and the Sabres. So I got to take the Pagula's word for it here, right? So they're getting 5,000 fans a game because they're still rubbish. That's exactly the reason he left. And the fans are speaking. The fans are speaking it to what it is. They don't even want to go watch the games anymore until Eichel shows up so they can toss their misery onto this guy who left them, who was fed up with what was going on. So until more stories come out, because I've talked to people from Vegas and they say he says hi to every media member. The guys love him there. He treats everybody with respect. Despite this team's struggles, he's still playing at a decently high level, given the fact that he's just came off neck surgery. So am I surprised they booed? I guess I'm surprised for the amount of people that showed up, considering nobody was showing up before they played the Vegas Golden Knights at home. And then they give him the video tribute and then the boos rain on him. And then every time he touches the puck, yes, was it frustration from the game itself and the fact that the Golden Knights have been struggling and he probably, fired back at all the boos? I kind of like the sassiness, and I'm looking forward to more of it when these teams play. All of a sudden, I'm going to be paying attention to Buffalo because nobody else was, because their crusty ass is going to be drafting the fucking lottery every year for the next 3-4 years.
I actually think, though, it's like a rallying cry. It's like, yeah, they came to boo this guy who was once going to be their savior, who they all think let them down.
Well, guess what? Welcome to Biz's shit list. We got Nathan McCheapshot #1, and now Buffalo Sabres fans numero 2. And I'm going to be there July 22nd. So if you got something to say to me, if you're not Rob Ray or any of the instigators or any of the tough guys that used to play there who caved my face in, why don't you stop on by the ball hockey tournament? Maybe even submit a team so you could try to get a cheap shot on me, bitches.
Ray, May, Barnaby. Yeah, Biz, if you want out, fans are going to boo you, man. It happened to Kessel here. It happened to Dougie. You know, when you want out, fans are going to boo you. That's just a natural thing that's going to happen. But yeah, Krebs and Tuck, man, that fucking trade's looking good for them so far. It's early, but if you're a Sabres fan, you got to be pretty thrilled with what those guys have done so far and what they're going to do in the future.
That's probably because they fucking brainwashed Tuck as a kid to be a Sabres fan. That's the only reason he wants to play for that crusty ass organization. Bring it on, Sabres fans.
I remember my first few years in the league when the Sabres had these incredible teams. They lost in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final when Carolina won the Stanley Cup. And I remember that barn and that fan base being top-notch. So it ain't fair if they're blaming the past 7 years on Eichel, but it's also, you know, win or we're not going to show up. It's kind of like, why would we come to these games when the team's this shit? I don't really blame the fan base. I think the ownership's trash there. I haven't heard many good things about the Bagulas ever.
Yeah, sort of like Philly, man. Philly ownership, which is Comcast, they're getting fucking shit on left and right, too. But that's another team for another day. We haven't even mentioned our guest yet. We're not going to him right now. I just want to give you a heads up of who we have on tap in a little bit. We have longtime NHL defenseman Darius Kasparitis, longtime Penguin, Islander, Ranger. Legit, I would say maybe one of the top 3 funniest interviews we've ever done. We'll get to that a little bit later. And we also have David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period in NHL Network. Of course, the trade deadline is coming up a little later. He's got some great insight for us in a little bit. But first, Whit, you're going to tell us about our friends at Laundry Sauce.
RA, yes, I am. Laundry Sauce is where it's at. And listen, fellas, your laundry deserves better. Don't be a scrub washing all your clothes and stinky old terrible laundry stuff. Laundry Sauce is where it's at. And it's the first designer laundry detergent made specifically for the lads. At laundrysauce.com, you'll discover a better way to muck your laundry. Laundry Sauce's premium, simple-to-use laundry pods are made with bold fragrances that will have you smelling like a beauty and feeling like a man rocket. I do not know what that feeling is because I'm an ugly bastard, but get Laundry Sauce and you might actually experience it. Soulful scents like Australian sandalwood give your laundry an exotic blend of deep amber and smooth suede. How good does that sound? You want your clothes smelling nice if a woman's coming over climbing into your sheets. Siberian pine leaves your laundry with the fresh juniper and oak moss aromas, and you won't even have to sign a contract in the K. Who the hell would do that? Their carefully crafted detergent doesn't just smell great, it's gentle on your clothing. It's the Lady Bing of the laundry room, unless it's the Austin Matthews Lady Bing and you cross-check someone in the face. Every order of Laundry Sauce comes with 69 premium pods per box. Nice. They want me to say nice. Join the new generation of modern men who know how to chuck sauce on the ice and in the laundry room. Scale up your laundry game by going to laundrysauce.com and use the promo code Chiclets for 10% off your next purchase. CHICLETS for 10% off. 2 amazing aromas to get your gear smelling nice. So Laundry Sauce, fellas, check it out.
Yeah, you're going to need some of that to scrub the streets of Buffalo after I take a nice hot steaming deuce on Chippewa Street.
I can't wait till some monster Buffalo Sabres fan comes up and taps you on the shoulder and straight sucker punches you right in that big nose, breaks it for the 14th time, and then you're laying on the ground saying, oh, shit, I pissed off the wrong city.
Ask the fans. Ask the real hockey fans. Are you Team Eichel or are you Team Buffalo Sabres scumbags? They should rename the team the Buffalo Scumbags.
Fucking bring back that slug logo. That thing was a scumbag.
Rob Ray might show up and fucking slam me through a picnic table. I'm going to hire security for that weekend because one of you will give me the old
that
Nancy
would be
Kerrigan
great.
special.
That would be great, Biz. We just get a couple of guys in tuxes walking around. Maybe they're packing heat too.
Another cheap shot, just like Darlene on fucking Matthews. Can't handle it. He's getting hit.
Fucking get a water gun and squirt buffalo sauce in your face, Biz, when we're up there. Yeah, Biz, we talked about the referees again, and we hate to do it. We do bring it up every once in a while, but sometimes there are just a couple of blatantly bad non-calls that national TV and it has results that could potentially have ramifications not only for gamblers but for other teams in the league. So let's go back to Wednesday night. You were doing TNT. By the way, I loved your line, shit a brick, and then they put the penalty box around you. That was clever stuff. Was that kind of pre-planned, or were they waiting to bust that? Well, they must have those.
So can you swear?
Oh yeah,
I mean that's borderline. It was getting a little late. Keith Olbermann ended up tweeting at me that I'm a classless clown or something.
Fuck that fucking loser. He's a fucking loser. Fuck you, Keith Olbermann. You fucking dork.
Keith Olbermann. I think he's honestly lost it. It's like the
idiot.
saddest thing I've ever seen.
Kind
of like Sabres fans. Kind of like Sabres. He's probably a Sabres fan.
He's a deranged human being. He's really. It's like he's smoking crack or something. That guy. He's fucked.
No, they asked us what our NHL come to moment was. And I remember when I was in training camp and I was riding the bike next to Malkin. And then, do you remember Frank Bonomo? He came over and gave him an envelope and Malkin looked at it. You can kind of see that, his eyes lit up a little bit. And I go, what do you got there? And he's like, bonus. So I don't know how high the bonuses can go now, but back then the entry level bonuses were like out of control. I think you could make up to like $2 million more on your salary if you ended up lighting the lamp. And obviously between him and Sid, they probably hit every max bonus on everything. And I want to say this was either his second year or third year on his entry level. And I go, hey, let me see. And he showed me, and it was a check for just over $900,000. And I was fucking, I'd never seen a check for over fucking, like, what was it in the minors? We were getting like 3,500 every 2 weeks. And I'd never been called up at that point. So to see that, I just naturally said, I shit a brick. And then they had the penalty box built for Talkit for one of the segments that we ended up doing earlier in the year. So that's how that happened. Now, how do we even get into that? This is proof that Witt's the worst neighbor of all time, because I think that in order to spite Witt and his Oilers, I'll let you take it over from here, Witt, dog.
Wait, what are you talking about?
About the call on the Oilers, and you ended up going on Twitter and bitching, and then you ended up hearing from one of your buddies. Was it?
No, I haven't heard from Runes. I didn't even. Chicka number 5, the referee, my neighbor. I haven't talked to him. He must be pissed.
Well, you heard from a friend though.
No. I think I might have said that I might hear from him, but he's got to be furious. But that was the worst non-call in history. And listen, Chicka's my boy. He's my buddy. He's got a tough job, as all these referees do.
You're probably not cleaning up your dog shit.
But
so
when I got
for the Oilers.
Never. I've been cleaning up shit since Yoshi came into our lives. I don't care if my best friend in the world does. When I have big money and my favorite team's trying to get into the playoffs and I don't want to get my ear pierced and we're trying to win a game by sealing it with an empty net goal by Hyman, and Alexander Ovechkin lassos him with his stick and pulls him towards him and he's standing right there and doesn't call it, I'm going on Twitter. I'm going to try to go viral. I'm going to be furious enough to get my ugly butt chin face, as you call me, on the internet and say, what am I watching? I do not understand what was going on there. And maybe it wasn't him who made the call. Maybe he was the other side of the rink. I'm not exactly sure. But you can't see a guy get a full hook on a guy with a breakaway with an empty net. And you should have awarded him the goal. You realistically could have just given him a goal. That is the rule. Yep. If you stop somebody from scoring on the empty net, goal. You've seen it before. And all of a sudden, what happens? They go back down and tie it. I tweeted I was going to storm NHL front offices if they tied it. Well, I went back on that, and I decided if they ended up winning the game, Washington, and that is, I would have stormed. But no, McJesus came through.
I would have sucked the fart out of RA's asshole to see Washington win that game.
Wait, you should have stormed headquarters and wore Business Coyotes fucking helmet like the dude who's
No, they would have stuck me in a college rink near the offices.
Put your foot up on Bettman's desk.
When TJ Oshie scored that goal with under a second left, that's when I nearly shit a brick.
So the crack house I'm at, it has Roku, which sucks.
Whoa.
Sucks.
Sorry, I won't.
Dumbest thing that's worse than the show you like from the LA Lakers. It's terrible. It's just a stupid absolutely stupid thing where you got to go back and forth. Like you can't, it just drives me nuts. So I fired the clicker. The clicker's also this big. It's 3 inches, the same size as my hammer. You lose the thing in the couch 40 times an hour. You're watching TV. So I was and I knew they were going to tie it. I knew they were going to tie it because that's how things go for the Oilers. But we grinded and we got that win. But along with that call, then we see Jacob Chikrin blatantly hold Austin, the dirtiest player in the league, stick, Matthews, and then go down and score the game winner. And then we have Landeskog going after our boy Wes McCauley. It's been nonstop referee mishap after mishap to the point where at the GM's meetings coming up here, something has to be discussed.
I think they're going to add another ref. I think they're going to go 3 ref system now.
Well, the whole argument is very true because as a ref, would you rather not call something?
I'd be curious.
Or would you rather call something and then have it be the wrong call? And then it's like, which one is worse? Do you know what I'm saying?
I'd be curious to know how many times the delay of not calling it, assuming the other guy's going to get it, may cause a non-call.
That's not a bad point.
As far as all the bad refereeing, I mean, I think they're just priming up for playoffs, and I cannot wait to discuss some more bad calls. So I agree with you. You never see Austin Matthews snap, obviously, because he's back-to-back Lady Byng candidates in the last 2 years. Maybe not anymore because he gave Darlene exactly what he deserved. But yeah, those are some 3 horrendous miscalls.
So it was 2 missed calls. The one in Carolina, Colorado, which what a game that was. Carolina ended up coming out on top. It was a good discussion from Landeskog, and it kind of centered around Kadri. And Kadri got called for, I believe, was a high stick. I don't remember exactly what the call was. And no, Kadri didn't get called. There was a high stick on him, and they didn't call the penalty. When prior they had called the penalty on Kadri. And it was more like Landeskog's kind of attacking the ref, saying, well, you can't treat him a certain way based on his prior history. Now, maybe going into the playoffs, they're looking at like, we need Kadri. We can't have refs thinking about him the way they do. But to call out a ref in a post-game press conference, was he fined for that, Landeskog, RA?
I didn't notice any fines come across. I was looking for them, but I was surprised not to see it.
So explain that to me. So Brind'Amour gets fined $25,000 for yelling at a ref on the ice. And then a player calls out refs by name in a post-game press conference and gets no fine. There's no consistency in terms of like what gets you in trouble talking about refereeing. You can't yell at a ref on the ice without getting fined, but then you can bring their names up in a press conference. It makes no sense to me. And I actually do think refs have a hard job. Like they're going to make mistakes the same way players do, the same way the Leafs constantly fuck up every season. The refs are going to make mistakes. And I just don't understand how often it can be so obvious to the fans at home while refs still make these mistakes.
You're a bum.
What?
I get your point, but you're a bum for saying that. All right, what else you got, buddy?
Yeah, I think what Landeskog didn't like specifically say, oh, they fucked up, they blew it. I think he actually was sort of respectful to them in that whole quote. That's probably why he didn't. I think he had rightful complaints. He was more defending Nazem than anything. I think he was respectful toward the ref, so that's why he wasn't like, oh, they sucked, they blew it, blah blah blah. It wasn't your typical bitching about him. It was a little more nuanced to it.
Do you have the quote?
Yeah, it's a little long, but in 11 years, I never sat and talked about referees in a press conference ever. I think Wes and TJ Luxmore do a great job tonight for 50-some minutes of the game.
Stroke off.
They called the high stick on Naz on Niederreiter, which may have been a high stick, but Niederreiter falls easy. We're arguing it's a flop. They say it's a high stick. Fair enough. With 5:50 left on the clock, Niederreiter's hooking Naz up the boards. The puck turns over. We go the other way. They score. We're arguing it's hooked. They say Naz is flopping. We're arguing it's still a hook. Just like the argument before, it's unfortunate because that's a playoff game tonight. It's very unfortunate that it comes down to that. Whether a guy's been suspended numerous times or not, is he going to be carrying around that heavy baggage forever? I'm not saying TJ and West didn't call it for that reason, but Naz is a guy that's very competitive. Whether he sold that call or not, you can look at the video, and the stick is in his waist, and that's why he loses the puck. I think it's unfortunate. Sometimes it's time for players to step up and speak their truth. I'm the one looking like an idiot for getting thrown out of the game, even though I'm just being honest. I guess TJ didn't like that I said that and had a tough night. So what? I'm guessing.
Wow! Hey, no, quick round of applause
that's
for
classy.
RA. Holy
that's classy.
shit, RA! Jesus,
good job,
Christ,
RA.
buddy.
You read the hell out of that thing.
Holy shit,
and you know what?
Flopgate.
You know what? That's not a suspension worthy quote. You're right.
No, Yeah, you know, and he got tossed, so like that was his like punishment enough. You know, sometimes if a guy gets like thrown in the first period, like they basically say you more or less get suspended for a game.
Flopgate,
that type of thing. So,
but my whole question is it's valid. I think refs are so scared of making a call that ends up looking so bad that they'd rather not make a call. And then that can even be worse at times, like with the Hyman and with the Matthews situation. So it's really hard. It's a hard job, but there are times when you wonder, like, what is going on out there? And even the best referees can make mistakes. You've seen it this week, but if I was to be a ref, I know I would lean on not making a call before I called something. That's just kind of how I'd be.
Let them play.
Let them play.
Let them play.
But then people, and I actually think players would agree with that more. It's the fans. It's the people that, and now you got gambling like me, and you got living and dying on every Oilers game where you're just seeing and hearing from the general public and the fan bases of all these teams flip out after flip out from these non-calls. So I don't know.
Thought the Generals would do. Before we get to the other side of the ref stories this week, we want to give Nick Backstrom a heads up. I'm not heads up, a shout out rather. He notched his 1,000th NHL point with a third period assist in that game with the no call. He's the second player in franchise history, Washington franchise history, to do so. The 34-year-old is the Caps all-time leader in assists as well. So congrats to Nicky Backstrom.
I forgot that Ovechkin made that draft pick. He was up there on stage with the jersey on, and he announced that pick. It's pretty cool to look back on what's coming up on like 20 years, basically, and the connection that those two have had, that Ovi actually was the one at the microphone who made the pick of that draft. So it's pretty cool. And
you might have said it last episode. Are they the 9th duo to reach 1,000 games played together?
I may have. I don't remember if I said it, to be honest with you. I can't. I don't.
Brunelli's looking it up right now, but I believe they're the 9th pair of like teammates, maybe drafted together or to the same team or duo or maybe I'm just making all this up.
You are correct,
you're
Biz.
right.
You are correct.
Do you have the other ones there, G?
There's another active one. Do you guys know who the other active one is right now?
Would it be Gino and Sid?
It is not.
Wait. Let us guess.
Wait, pair of teammates that get drafted.
I'm guessing that it's two guys that have only played for one team together that are at 1,000 games. Do you know what I'm saying?
Dustin Brown.
Oh yeah, you got it. Dustin Brown and Kopitar.
Great.
All right.
All right.
He's buzzing today. Hey, this is what happens. You sleep till 8 p.m. I actually never would have gotten that. Never would have gotten that.
You hit your REM cycle for once, eh? All right.
Yeah, for a year. That's a year-long REM cycle.
Yeah, I fucking needed it. All right, boys. I just said we beat up on the refs a little bit. Also, there was a really nice, not a story this week. I guess it's been going on for the last few years, but we've seen a lot of videos lately of teams congratulating referees and linesmen at the end of the game. And it's kind of I was like, well, that's kind of a weird thing. But all these referees and linesmen, there are actually 4 of them. Referees Mark Garnett, Brad Meyer, and Dean Morton, and linesman Vaughn Rohde. They're all retiring at the end of the season. So when teams know that it's their last game seeing these guys, they line up at the end of the game and they shake their hands, they give them hugs, they dap them up, and thank them basically for the job they've done. And I think it's a wonderful thing to see, man. We've seen it for the last few years, but this particular season, like I said, there's 4 guys retiring, so they have seen these teams, almost every other night that they're not going to see again. And I didn't know this, boys. I don't know if you did. That officials that retire in the NHL, they do not get playoff assignments that year. They're done in the regular season. Did you guys know that, Whit? Did you know that?
I think I knew that.
I didn't know that, but it kind of makes sense to me because if you really hated a team, you're like, I'm done. I'm going to fuck this team over. So, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to save yourself from any sort of indiscretion from a ref who may really have an axe to grind with a former player or coach.
I reached out to Tim Peel on a DM, and I asked him about that. And he said it's because most guys want to have their last game and have their family in to see them, and so they can plan ahead. You don't know you can do that in the playoffs. I thought it was kind of a weird reason to do it, because what if a guy hates his family or is a loner and still wants to ref the playoffs?
Brady.
So, yeah.
Jeez. That one took a dark turn.
No, I mean,
hates his family, all right.
I don't know. People, you never know. Everyone comes from different backgrounds.
Hey, you inviting your kids and wife to your last game? No, I hate them. They're scumbags.
No, I'm an orphan and I killed the rest
I
of
left them tickets COD.
No, but
that's cash on
what I mean?
demand for you people who don't know, Sabres fans, you idiots.
either way, it was a kind of a quirky thing. I didn't know that guys who are finishing up that season, and they don't get playoff assignments. But either way, I blogged about it the other day, and we've seen these videos. But is this something, Biz, that you actually experienced when you were playing, or has it only happened since you retired?
Is this the referee pod? I don't fucking. All I would do is hand him Gatorade and water and give him back rubs during TV times out. I don't know. Right. I did my part. I had my guy. Hey, one thing though, actually sticking with the referee thing. Now that we're on it,
trying to give him a little stroke after we just
double barrel. Yeah. Smart thing that I know that Shane Doan would always ask our trainers, what's each official's name? Not only the referees, but also the linesmen, because some guys will just go, hey, ref, and it boils their fucking blood that you don't know their name. So grinds their gears. There you go, RA, a free one for your segment. But the Blackhawks, they actually have printouts where they have each of the officials' names, and so the guys get the heads up before the game.
Every game has those pregame sheets with the officials' names on them.
Oh yeah, but some guys don't check the game notes, buds.
Ooh, but to back up Biz's point with Dave Jackson, former referee, he's on Twitter, and I include that in my blog. Like, these are little tidbits that you won't necessarily get from a player. And he had the picture of it. Like, this means so much. He said, he goes, instead of saying, hey, Stripes or Chief or Bro or Guy, when you call a guy by his name, it means fucking a total different like response you're gonna get. And Dave Jackson actually pointed that out.
Yeah, you might get the flop called.
Yeah, absolutely. Call him fucking Chief for the 10th time. Fuck you, buddy. You're getting the extra two.
You got to know guys' names.
I mean,
that's how Coop got tossed. He said, hey, ref. And they went,
no, hey, number 4.
You're fucking gone.
Hey, number 4.
You're gone, buddy. You're out of here. Nah. Hey,
I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to just, if you want entertainment, we're in the entertainment business in pro sports. Mm-hmm. Get these refs doing post-game press conferences.
Oh, man.
You cannot tell me the argument on why you shouldn't do it. It's entertainment, right?
Coach. Yeah.
Wait, if I could just jump in, wasn't the Jack Eichel post-game press conference entertainment? And you didn't really like that.
What a fucking moronic thing for you to say. You're so hey, you know what?
Dumb? Hey, RA, give Grinelli a round of applause for calling out Dumbo.
You want to know how dumb Grinelli is?
I hold my mic now.
Want to know how dumb Grinelli is? I said I didn't agree with Eichel's comments. At no point did I say the entire thing was bad or not entertaining. So Grinelli, take a step back and realize what you said. Think about it, Grinelli. What did I say, G?
I thought you did. I thought you did. So my mistake. I thought you did.
No, don't backpedal.
No, he's wrong, Biz. He's incorrect. He's incorrect. I said I didn't agree with Eichel saying that. I never said the whole press conference and actual ability for us to talk about it was bad. God damn it, G. Thanks for getting me this office to work in, though.
I thought you said I'm all right, Spider. No, you ain't all right, you prick.
I get that one. Great movie.
What was that? 15 on the best Boston movies ever.
Goodfellas, right?
Wow. You're gonna get whacked.
Have you seen Goodfellas, Biz?
Give me the Bull's gonna come around the block and whack you for that fucking stuff.
Yeah, in Buffalo.
Not if he sleeps till 8. I'll be able to hide.
Does he still live in Arizona? Don't sleep tonight, Biz.
What else do we got before we send it over to Kasparitis?
We're not quite done yet. We got a few more things before we send it to the Darius. Let's see. One last ref note, actually. Congrats to Elizabeth Mantha. Mantha, she's the older sister of Washington's Anthony Mantha. She became the first woman to ref in the QMJHL, and she also refed at the Beijing Olympics. So good for her, and maybe we'll see her in the Nationals someday, hopefully.
I know I've said that no woman will ever play in the NHL. No doubt a woman can referee in the NHL, though. We will see that at some point. Good for her. Congratulations, Elizabeth.
Absolutely. Hopefully it's her. So let's see. Phil Kessel kept his Iron Man streak alive in kind of an unusual fashion, I guess you'd say. Wednesday, he played his first shift, came off the ice. He left the game, got the fist bumps from the boys, flew home on a private jet arranged by the team. For the birth of his first child. Then he was in Toronto the next day for his 957th consecutive game to keep the streak going. So congrats to Phil, who's a dad for the first time, along with his significant other, Sandra. Biz, have you ever seen anything like this before to keep a streak alive? A guy does one shift?
All I got to say, RA, is what a classy move by the Arizona Coyotes organization to send the PJ. I I was reading online. Apparently, it was the coach's decision. He was willing to play out the full game, but he played the first shift. And I think that Tourigny was like, "Hey, there's things that are bigger than hockey. Jump on the PJ, go home. We got you." He got the knuckles from the guys on the way out, and hey, they ended up pulling off the victory for him. Suck it, Theo. And that was it. That was it. His first daughter. That was his first kid. Congratulations, Phil Kessel.
Yeah. Now the Wayne train, they actually their daughters have the same name, Capri. They both share the same name. That's probably what they were talking about. We saw them kind of shooting the shit before the Coyotes Maple Leafs game. So,
maybe that's when he decided. He's like, "Oh, you got a daughter? Oh, okay. What's her name? Capri? Oh, sure. Fuck it. Put it on the birth certificate."
This was after their kids were born, Biz.
Oh, it was the next game.
Yeah.
Oh,
he went back to Toronto, and then he beat your Leafs.
Oh,
they lost to the Coyotes and then the Sabres twice.
Yeah,
and gave up 10
well, I guess I'll shut the fuck up then.
Your Coyotes beat your Leafs.
And then your Flames were doing well too, though, so it's all good.
Hey, that's a great matchup. 3 points. Everybody goes home happy.
As long as someone comes to the puck line. All right. Moving right along, like I said, we had a lot of milestones. We've been covering tons of milestones this year, and we mentioned before these guys are worthy of the recognition, and that's what we like to do as a Players podcast. And, of course, anytime a number gets retired, we got to talk about that. In Minnesota, they retired their first number in team history as well. Columbus did it last week. Well, it was Minnesota this week. Sunday night, they sent Mikko Koivu's number 9 to the rafters. He was the first permanent captain in team history, has the most games played, the most points. The defensive-minded center had 711 points in 1,035 games. But in the game itself, the Preds spanked them 6-2. The Wild, they've been scuffling a bit here, Whit. I know you want to mention them. They've lost 4 out of 5 in regulation at home. Their goaltending's been scuffling a bit. This is a team that, we were stroking off, rightfully so, 2 months ago. And now, I don't know, man. They're tied for third in Central with the Preds right now. Questions again about their goaltending. What do you got on them?
Well, first I wanted to talk about Mikko Koivu and the career he had, and him being an 83 birth year, same as myself. I'd played against him starting when we were 17 years old, and the Finnish 83 group, they had himself, Joni Pikkanen, and Tuomo Ruutu, brothers of Jarkko. So 3 unreal players, and Koivu right away was like the best one of them all. I actually remember at under 18s in Czech, we played them. And one of the coaches of our team, he mentioned to me, "Hey, you want to play in the NHL? This is an NHL player. He's already probably playing. I don't know for sure. I'm guessing he's probably playing in the Finnish league at that point, at that age. His draft year was coming up that summer. And I saw firsthand after this coach told me about him, like the work ethic, ultra competitor. I mean, I'm talking like a dog to play against, strong on his feet, like all these Finns and Swedes are, wide base, couldn't move him, had that mean streak in him, super skilled offensively. But more than anything that stood out was just the will to win. And in reading a couple different articles about him, I think Russo wrote one of them on The Athletic. It was discussed by, former GMs and coaches that like not many people wanted to win like him, and the career he had battling through injuries and always showing up to play. He was somebody that from the very beginning, you could tell was going to have a long NHL career. So then for the night to go down and for him to get honored, and he had tears coming down his face. He talked about his 3 kids being the greatest gifts he's ever had. They were there for it. His brother Saku, who had an amazing career, who I had the chance to play with in Anaheim, classy guy. You saw him beat cancer and what he did with the Canadians. It was just it was a cool thing to see a guy I grew up playing against from a young age, even before the NHL, having his time to shine and having his number fully retired by Minnesota is pretty awesome. So I'll never forget I'll tell you, he was probably my first glimpse into like what an NHL player is at a young age because of how he played the game and how he showed up. So we've said a lot of the same things about guys like Giordano, guys like Koivu, Getzlaf, all these players who've come along and played this many games. It all happened for a reason. And I think that Koivu was somebody who's maybe not remembered in all NHL circles as this all-time great player, but if you were a Wild fan all these years, you saw just every single night showing up to work and never being outworked by your opponent. So I was happy to see it. In terms of the Wild, it's been a tough go. I mean, all of a sudden
they got to make a move.
They got big time goaltending issues. Their PK is horrific right now.
Should do a goalie swap with the Leafs. See if that works.
Yeah, that'll work. It actually probably would work for Minnesota because you get these guys out of Toronto and people flourish once you get rid of these stupid Leafs fans having to deal with these idiots online. And I think the Wild right now, I mean, they're still in position to get into the playoffs right now, but you got to turn this around quick. I mean, this is, I think, what, 4 of their last 5 in regulation, you've said?
At home.
At home. So, I mean, they're not even getting points at home. It's ugly. And the special teams is the biggest part. The biggest reason why you get a penalty, you got to have the chance of killing it off. When you're giving up power play goals, every 10 PKs they have right now, they're getting scored on like 4 or 5 times. So it's just not enough. And I think the teams will be able to turn around and still be a threat in the playoffs. But you can't let this fester. You can't let this losing continue. They got to switch something. And I don't know what Billy Guerin's going to do because he's made it clear he's not going to trade his first-round pick.
Well, they have been second fiddle around those parts recently because they had the high school hockey championships, and then they had
what a game that was. I heard.
Oh yeah, I ended up watching it. Somebody sent me the link. I couldn't even tell you the 2 teams that played, but it went into second overtime, and it was 5-5. And then the captain for I think the home team ended up scoring, and like half the guys had the bleach blonde dyed hair, and sure as shit. The guy who does, you'll know the guy's name who comes out with the videos for the hockey hair, Flocella. What's the guy's name?
John King.
Oh, this guy is a fucking treat. So he came back because the last couple of years it was canceled because of COVID. So they didn't even have him. So this guy was primed and ready to go for another hockey hair video, and he called it Flocella. So check it out on YouTube. For some chuckles, and he was primed up and ready to go. But as far as the Wild are concerned, we talked about those 2 buyouts and how bad it's going to hoop them in the ass the next 2 seasons with that cap hit. This is their only year where they don't get affected that bad by it. I think if there's a time to take a run for it and make a big splash, it's now. Right now.
Well, Billy Guerin knows you don't make a deal with the Empire, whatever you do. So as a Star Wars guy.
Yeah, Billy, can I go upstairs and see that Lego set again as we're like 1 foot out the door?
Come on, I made previous arrangements. Another note with the Wild, our buddy Moose, he's a little out of control maybe with the knee, and they get a $5,000 fine. You need Jake Voracek. Wasn't penalized in the play. As a Neely fan, I get triggered when I see those type of hits. A guy puts his knee out a little. I don't know if it was 100% intentional, but I always cringe when you see that type of hit.
Is that his second one so far now this year? And before this, he's never really had anything prior.
I don't know, second fine or second incident.
No, I think
kneeing incident.
Kneeing, yeah, earlier in the year, and I want to say it was like a month ago that he ended up getting sussied like a game or 2.
He's got the look in his eye of like the wires crossing at times. You know, you've seen it on the ice. Like I think he's probably got to reel it in with the knee. But you know, when he gets pissed off, it's like heads up. Kind of like your boy Matthews to Darlene's face. That was nice.
All right. Let's see. We got a few other notes before we get to Darius Kasparitis. Detroit defenseman Mark Stahl played in his 1,000th game Saturday in Calgary, and he joined his brothers Eric and Jordan, and they became the first trio of brothers to each play 1,000 NHL games in league history. I thought the Sutters might have pulled it off, but they didn't, apparently. So congrats to Mark and his brothers, man. That's an unreal accomplishment. And on the same night, Stahl's good pal and longtime Rangers teammate Derek Stepan played in his 800th career game, and he notched his 500th career point in his 800th career game. Spit it out, RA. So it's kind of, a little serendipity there, I guess.
Yep.
A couple of buddies for him.
2 people I'd let dump a load in my old lady, and that's Mr. Hughes and Mr. Stahl at this point. I think by the time all said and done, Mr. Hughes will have 3 kids that have played 1,000 games each in the NHL, and then now, of course, Mr. Stahl. So okay. Those are the only ones I'm letting put a turkey baster in my old lady.
I like Jarrett because he's the one. He's coaching in the coast. We got to hang out with him. Great guy.
He's the coolest one.
He's the coolest one by far.
No doubt about it. Jonathan Quick, man, he hit 700 games played as a goaltender Sunday night in a 3-2 shootout win over Florida. 30th all-time in games played for goalies, and just the 4th American goalie to hit 700 games after Van Beesbrook, Miller, and Barrasso. He's got 352 wins. So congrats, Quickie. Great job, man. Love what you do as a fellow American. Of course, you got the 2 Stanley Cups back in the day.
Johnny's a pizza.
Yeah. What?
He's self-proclaimed the best pizza maker in the United States of America. He's got his own oven at his place in his backyard. Still waiting for the invite.
Yeah, brick oven, right?
On our next West Coast wagon tour, we're going there. We're going to give it the Portnoy special. We're going to grade his pizza. He says his wife helps him with all the toppings and the prep, but he knows the exact time to leave it in and how to flip it around and stuff. Johnny's a pizza.
I got this baking steel thing. Check it out. You can order them online. A little free ad. This thing's unbelievable. You heat it up in the oven, then you throw the pizza on. It cooks pizza better than I've ever had. I would argue I can go toe to toe with my
Johnny's a pizza
with my baking spiel with Johnny's a pizza.
Hopefully, get him for an interview one of these days. Wait, we talked about San Tapios earlier. What's your favorite pizza in Boston? Did you say or did you not say? Because you just would talk about pizza again.
I'm a Linwood guy in Randolph, which isn't Boston. I mean, Boston. I actually am not the biggest Santarpios fans. I'd probably go Regina's over them. But the Regina's people in the North End were the craziest COVID fucking lunatics I've ever seen in my life. So I'm kind of down on them.
This fucking Trudeau.
They got masks as a topping.
Buddy, they were making people walk by their restaurant outside, throw on a mask while they were like walking by. It was a disgrace. These people were insane. I think Foley ended up screaming it in a screaming match with one of the guys at one point.
I don't.
They use the booster as the grease.
Also, if we're talking about that pizza, we got to shout out Galleria Umberto on Hanover Street, formerly on Palmetto Street. They do the square Sicilian slices. I
love Sicilian.
They sell out by like 2:00 every day for lunch. So shout out Galleria Umberto.
Since we're calling out a bunch of cities today, like Buffalo and Toronto, Chicago deep dish pizza, the most overrated pizza on the planet. Trash bucket sandwich right there.
Brutal pizza pie, like apple pie style. Fuck that noise.
You think Chief's gonna be all get his panties up in a bunch with me saying that? See
what happens when we shit on Chicago pizza? Then like those guys, they defend pizza in Chicago that's not deep dish pizza. Like because there are a lot of places in Chicago that make non-deep dish
New York
pizza.
Style pizza.
Yeah, if New York style is the same.
See, I'm a bar pie guy. I like bar pies, the little ones.
I like hair pie.
Oh,
who said that?
Jesus Christ!
Oh my
That's
God.
a fucking revenge.
Bush.
Podcast. Can we throw it to Kasparaitis for fuck's
1 minute?
sake?
It's a Revenge of the Nerds joke, you assholes. Barry Trotz, he joins a very elite club as well. New York Islanders head coach Barry Trotz became just the 3rd guy in NHL history to reach 900 wins as a head coach when the Islanders beat the Jets 5-2 Friday night. He joined Scotty Bowman. What?
The first of those 3 to coach with a coat hanger in his shirt for every game.
You are a fucking idiot.
Scotty Bowen, obviously number 1, 1,244 wins. Joe Quenneville, 969. And I don't know, hopefully we'll see Joel back in the league again. I don't think he did anything to warrant not ever coaching in the NHL again. It's rarefied coaching here. So congrats to Barry Trotz. And I wish Bob Hoskins was still alive, because if they ever made a movie about Barry Trotz's career, Bob Hoskins would play him in a heartbeat. So
who's coaching in the NHL first, Babcock or Quenneville?
Quenneville.
Oh, Babcock for sure.
Oh, actually, no, Babcock. Oh, yeah, I'm thinking based on resume. But yeah, based on fucking cancel fucking shit. Yeah, Babcock probably first, but
you think they're both head coaches again in the league?
Yeah, I do. I don't think either one of them has done something that would warrant them never coaching in the NHL again for the rest of their lives.
Whit, you made a comment earlier in the podcast, and I want to come back to it. What will you do as punishment if a female ever plays a regular season NHL game?
It's going to happen. It'll be a goalie.
I will let her. I said punishment. Okay, but I know. As I was about to say, I have a good punishment. As I was about to say it, though, I think I said we'll never play forward or defense. If I did say
Grinelli, don't correct him, Grinelli. He'll come fire.
No. If I did say never ever, I'll stick by it. But my punishment wouldn't work if it is a goalie, because my punishment is if one does, I'll stand with just underwear on so she doesn't have to see my tiny horn, and Other than that, naked, and she can take a slap shot at me.
Yeah, kind of like Subban did in Jackass.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. We'll let you wear a small jock.
Yeah, trust me. That's the only thing that'll work.
Okay. I think we can move right along. We are going to get to Darius Kasparitis in a second, but Whitney, a word from our sponsor.
All right. I'm here to talk to you and tell you guys that this interview is brought to you by War Road Original Hockey Company. A few weeks ago, we had the legend TJ Oshie on the show, and he spoke about his company. War Road Original Hockey Company is unreal. They sent us some of this gear. It is the best in the business. I love it. I'm wearing it now. I got the hoodie on. The pants are so comfortable. Biz has the T-shirt and the hat, I believe. It is sick stuff, and we got a chance to try some, like I mentioned. You'll get and see War Road gear in every pro locker room in the league. NHL stars like Tom Wilson and Brock Nelson, as well as podcast guests like Jared Spurgeon, John Carlson, and Nick Dowd, to name a few, wear War Road under their equipment. But War Road doesn't just make the on-ice gear, like I mentioned to you guys. They've got everything from training shirts to shorts to joggers to outerwear to polos and more. They have everything. I wear the Blade Tech hoodies and joggers. I've been rocking those since I got them. Flexible, athletic fit. They're lightweight and breathable, yet really warm if it's cold out. They're perfect for wearing around the rink, the locker room, the lounge, the gym, team meetings, doesn't matter. They're durable enough to wear on the ice for coaching skates or pond hockey if you're a coach, and they're sharp enough looking where you can wear it wheeling and dealing around the town. Keeps you feeling relaxed, ready to go and connected to the game. And it's so comfortable you want to live in it. So go to warroad.com/SC to get a free gift with your order. That's warroad.com/SC to get a free gift with your order. And I got to tell you, I received a text from the legend himself, TJ Oshie. He said, Whit, what do you think of the gear? I said, honestly, it's unreal. I can't tell you enough how much I like it. He goes, fuck, dude, I need to get some negative feedback. I need to hear about some things we can improve. I go, well, I'm not your guy, because this stuff, it is great. I'm telling you, check it out. They sent the Rink Shrink some stuff too. Mike Mono, Brian Yando, they've been rocking it. They've been ordering it. So check it out right now, warroad.com/SC. Now we're going to go to our boy, Darius Kasparitis.
Oh, man, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome our next guest. He was taken 5th overall in the 1992 draft by the New York Islanders and would instantly become one of the most feared and intimidating defensemen in the NHL, thanks largely to his fierce body checks. He played 14 NHL seasons for 4 different franchises, and with his trademark blonde locks flowing underneath his helmet, you can instantly recognize him on the ice, and you know a big hit was coming soon. Thanks so much for joining us on the Spittin' Chiclets podcast, Darius Kasparitis. How you doing, Darius?
Good. Thank you for having me, guys. I heard a lot of good things about you, so I'm doing good. I'm very honored to be invited.
It's our pleasure to have you. What are you up to these days, and where are you talking to us from?
I live in Florida, in Miami. I'm working in the real estate development business. I'm a father of 6 kids. So it's a full-time job too. So I'm working 2 jobs. And I've been married, so it's a 3rd job. So I'm working 3 jobs.
Have you been in Miami since you retired from the game, or how long have you been down there?
I've been here for 11 years. When I retired, I married, my wife is from Sweden. So I lived in Sweden for 4 years, and I realized that was not my lifestyle. So I made a choice to move to Florida, and, I'm glad I did it.
So, Darius, when we have guests on, we always like to kind of go back to the early roots of the game. And like we're looking up, you actually moved from Lithuania to Russia when you were 14 years old for better competition. Did your whole family move there? Did you live with a billet family? What was that situation like?
Not really. I was invited by Dynamo Moscow at age 14 to come join, the hockey program. And I was living by myself with other bunch of guys same age as me. We had this dorms. Not far from, it's actually not far from center of Moscow. And we just have to report every morning to practice, go to school, practice again, eat if we have time. And, that was our lifestyle.
So just about 14 years old and you had nobody watching over you guys?
No, you know what? Honestly, I was very homesick in the beginning, because I was still probably a kid. And, my first year was very tough. I miss my parents. I miss, Lithuania. I miss being, in Lithuania. But then, when you become a teenager, you realize freedom is not that. And, suddenly you start feeling better. But yeah, 14 was very hard.
I know Lithuania is really well known for basketball and how many amazing players have come out of that country. Hockey-wise, what was it like? Was a lot of people playing, or was it kind of a not very popular sport at that point in time?
I was lucky that I was born in the little town, Elektrene, which is we had our first indoor hockey rink built during Soviet times. I think in the early 70s, and Zubers is coming. Sorry, guys, someone's calling me. Zubers came from same town. So Zubers is coming from same town. So I love hockey because I grew up maybe 5 minutes from the ice rink. So that's how I was introduced to hockey. And I don't know why. When I was first time I stepped to the ice when I was 8 years old, and honestly I felt I was thinking I'm gonna fall and don't know how to skate, but I started skating right away with the figure skates, but still. I was amazed that I can skate right away. So I think that was maybe a gift from God.
What about when your wires would cross? Do you think that was a gift from God? Was that always around from a young age? You playing on the edge and lighting these kids up?
You know what? Honestly, it is true. I'm almost 50 and I still have the same attitude. I hate to lose. And if you go interview people who play with me at lunch hockey, like normal people, they're probably going to tell you a lot of stories about me. I just recently met my kids coach, and he was telling the kids, he works in Long Island, New York. His name is Alexei Nikiforov. And he told the kids when Darius was little, he would bite your ears off if you beat him one-on-one. And I was like, there's the answer. That's why, I feel exactly the same way right now. And it bothers me because, I'm playing for nothing, you know what I'm saying? But the attitude I still have, I think it's been built since I was a little kid. I don't know why. I was competitive all the time. And, I carried that on into my professional career.
Now, Darius, at the time, not a lot of players from that area of the world necessarily coming to the NHL. It was just sort of starting. When did the NHL become a goal for you? Like as a little kid, did it come sort of later in life?
It happened everything in 1 year. I think 91, Soviet Union fell apart. And then 92, I went to Olympic Games in World Juniors. And, and then suddenly, I was drafted. And I was not ready. I was not even thinking about going to NHL. I was excited that I was drafted by a North American team. And then I started my season in 92 in Russia. And then a month later, they told me, you want to go play in the NHL? I was like, what? Are you serious? Like, yeah, you can go. I was like, wow. And October 3rd, I was in New York practicing with New York Islanders.
Now, did you know a lot about it, growing up when you did in the area you did? Obviously it was the era of communism. Were you aware of the NHL and all these players going over there, or was there still kind of a shutdown of media at that time?
Maybe in the late 80s, we started getting more into it because, whatever was televised on Russian or Soviet state TV, especially when, the Russian teams started going overseas and playing club hockey against NHL teams. That's what we would watch on TV. But I didn't really follow that much because we had no chance to follow any games. And but I remember living in the dorms when I was playing for the main team, Dynamo Moscow, and I had this selection of hockey cards on my wall. And there was Mark Messier, Gretzky, Lemieux, all the guys later that I was abusing. They're on my wall as my heroes. Right? So that was a kind of cool thing, because I remember having hockey cards from bringing from Canada. We had a Canada trip in 91, and I think I got a lot of cards from that trip.
Yeah, most guys dream of playing against those people, and you just dreamed of lighting them up, so I respect that. But I noticed you had the chance. I mean, you're the same age, I think, as Alexei Kovalev, and you play with him with Dynamo Moscow. So he's such a legend. So many different stories about one of the most skilled players to ever play hockey. What was he like as a youngster when you guys were coming up together?
Listen, we both came to Dynamo Moscow system. He was actually Alex was 13 years old, and I was 14, so he was 1 year younger. And I hated the kid in the beginning. He was too cocky. He was like a good boy. I was more like a bad boy. And every time we practice, I try to, hit him, and, he tried to beat me one-on-one. And it was just, big competition between me and him. And he would never share his food with me. He always lock himself in the room and don't share. So, I don't really like the guy in the beginning. But, me and Alex have a great relationship. We grew up together in Russia. We played together in the same system. And then, we play against each other for the New York teams. But Alex was, he was a weird guy because, even the things they did, like riding the bike from Moscow to, outside Moscow to a training facility, that was unheard of, in the Soviet times. But he did it. And, he was very unique individual.
You mentioned something about figure skating. Was that the first introduction to skating you had? And how long did that go on for with the figure skates?
No. You know what? I remember when I was 6 or 7, somebody came to my school and asked who wants to figure skate. And because I think figure skating was starting in the earlier age. So I said, I want to try to, I want to skate because I love skating. I didn't ever skate in my life, but I said, that looks cool, to skate. But they told me I was too fat. So,
they get canceled now.
But now, what happened? My dad, he shaved my figure skate, front teeth. That were those 3 little things.
Oh yeah,
toe peg, toe peg, and then you can skate as a hockey player. So my first skates were figure skates.
Wow, I didn't have Kasparitis getting fat shamed as a kid on my bingo card for this interview, but this is taking a bit of a wild turn. And then how long did you go with those as hockey skates?
Well, I played maybe in my first year, and then I got skates from my coach. I remember the name was they were international, so they were not Russian-built skates because they were called lasers, and I think it was from Czech Republic or something. So I started skating with them, and then we didn't have equipment, as players have now. We play with whatever we can play. We can find, and the helmet. I remember my issue was I have a big head. I didn't realize that, and my issue was to find a helmet. So my dad have to build me a custom made helmet. Like a tank and put some plastic on it. So I always remember having issues with the helmets since my junior years. Every time I have to cut things out of my helmet to fit my head. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. You took some of that shaved down steel from the figure skates and just threw it on the helmet. All of a sudden, it was all coming together.
RoboCop.
Yeah. And I remember my first injury. We didn't wear a mask when we play hockey. So one time I laid down. I was maybe 11. I blocked a shot and I got hit in the nose with the puck, and my nose blew up. So next morning, my dad goes, "You have to go to school." I'm like, "I'm not going to school, man." He goes, "Yeah, you have to go to school." So the moment I started going to school, all my classmates saw me and they started laughing at me because I looked like, Pitbull with a big, no eyes and big nose. So basically, I was standing and crying in front of the school for 6 hours because, guys were making fun of me.
Oh, man. Now, you played in the Russian Super League at 16 years old. Was it intimidating to play in a pro league that young? What was that experience like?
First of all, I was very proud of myself because I came from Lithuania and I never expected to, go that high. And when I was invited I remember those 2 games, I was, I was so scared. First game we played against Red Army, which was like a legendary team. And I didn't play much. I was sitting on the bench most of the game. And they told me at the end, play a couple of shifts. It was televised. It was scary, but I remember going back to high school the next day and I was a hero, because, a lot of kids watched the game and my name was in the newspaper. So, yeah, I remember, being proud, but also being very scared because, I was just a kid playing in the men's league.
Were you hesitant to throw those big hits at that early age? Or did that not affect anything? Did you just stick to your game? Because you mentioned that you were maybe a little overwhelmed.
I was more, when I was raised, growing up in Russian hockey system, we didn't really, we thought to fight and not fight like, physically fight, but hitting and, and battle for the pucks, especially against Canadians. But our game plan was to, finesse, move the puck, give and go and try to keep the puck, So hitting was not very appreciated, when I played in Russia. And that's why when I came to the NHL, and my first shift, I hit two guys from the New Jersey Devils, and people went crazy. I was like, wow, people love this shit. I should do more often. You know what I'm saying?
So I noticed that 91-92 team, the Dynamo Moscow, I mean, so many NHLers. And I think that draft year, Yashin went second overall. You went fifth. I mean, going into the draft, did you have any idea you were going to go that high? Were you at the draft even? Like, how did that all go about? And it must have been incredible to play with that many guys who went on to play in the NHL from that same team.
I was at the draft, actually. I was roommates with Boris Mironov in Montreal, which I think he drank most of the draft in his room. And I attended all the meetings. I think Boris was a great player, but I think, he had too much fun, especially at the draft. He told all the scouts to go F themselves. So I don't think he got drafted that high. But it was, I didn't realize the draft was that big. I just want to play, I just want to get drafted, because I remember being so jealous when Alexei Kolev got drafted the year before. And I was like, he's younger than me and I play on the same level, and he got drafted already. And I think Alexei Zhitnik was drafted too in 1991. And I was like, wow, it made me feel like, maybe I'm not good enough. But when I was drafted in, next year, in 92, it was cool. I didn't even realize what New York Islanders are, I never heard about them. I knew they won 4 cups after I got drafted, but when I was going to Long Island, I didn't know there was I thought it was in New York City, but there was not New York City. It was middle of nowhere in Long Island.
Now, I mean, you didn't play like a rookie your first year. Did anyone in your team or opponents ever say, "Hey, kid, slow it down here"? Because you, like I said, you didn't play like a rookie at all.
Well, I don't believe playing like a rookie. I honestly tell you, I realized that people love hitting, and I didn't realize that until I came to NHL, and I realized how much they love it, because every time I hit somebody, people would just chant my name, and I was like, wow, this is better than scoring goals, and that's why I started playing that way, because it was easy in the beginning for me to hit people, because I don't know why, maybe league was different than especially hip check, because everybody tried to be one-on-one, and I was just hitting left and right. So I loved it, and of course my teammates used to tell me, slow down. The game was 5-1, 6-1, and the game was out of hand. Please don't hit anybody. And I remember playing Toronto Maple Leafs, and Mick Vokoda goes, listen, whatever you do, don't hit Wendell Clark. And I was like, okay, Mick, next shift I go ahead. Next shift I go ahead to Wendell Clark. And we have a huge brawl at the end of the game. And Mick was so mad at me. He goes, no, I told you not to do that, man. What's wrong with you? We're up 5-1. There was no point hitting the guy. So basically, it was right now when I looked, I played like 88. But then I think it was fun.
Well, you couldn't turn it off, right? It's probably what made you the player you were. It was like, there's no part of me that can just shut it down right now.
No, I loved it. I love the competitiveness. I love that I can go under somebody's skin and get all the team chasing me and try to kill me. It was kind of, I don't know why, that was fun, because I knew I was doing my job. And, that was, I knew people loved it. And I knew also when I play on the road, people hated me. That also was fun for me, because, you can trash talk and do crazy things, and people go even more nuts. So, I love playing that way.
We often talk to North Americans about their experience over in Russia, and they always talk about training camp. Were you guys aware of how intense it was compared to North America, and how hard they were going, and how long it was, and maybe in a sense treated kind of like the army?
Where, in Russia?
Yeah, when all the training and playing.
Well, listen, when I was a kid, all we did is train. We had 1 month off. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why a lot of people have drinking problems. eventually, because, you basically had no freedom. I speak for myself because, we had one day off and then we trained twice a day, and all our lives were in this dorms outside Moscow. And that's all we did: train, play, watch movies, eat, train, playing, and then you have one day off. You go out, you get a little, fun, and then you go back and you do the same over and over again. So I think right now it's not as hard as we used to do. And but yeah, it's different, And coming to NHL was so much freedom, It's also was very dangerous for a young player like me, because I didn't know what to do with such a free time. There was no supervision. So, I did a lot of crazy things my first year in the league, you know what I'm saying? Like getting pulled over for drinking and driving. I thought it was fun, but then I realized it was not. So, it's crazy.
Yeah, you were quite the speed demon, I understand. Steve Thomas, your old teammate, I found an old article. He said, I drove in with him to a game one time, and geez, thank God he's got airbags.
Yeah. You didn't tell her they were smoking in my car, so I tried to drive fast.
Hey, when you came over your rookie year, you played with like Vladimir Malkov was a Russian on the Islanders. Was he able to take you under his wing? Were you hanging out with him? And that guy was an amazing player. Probably doesn't get the credit he deserves for some of the years he had.
Yeah, me and Vladdy, we hang out a lot together because, we spoke the same language, and I was maybe more outgoing guy. Vladdy was more like, shy, and he didn't want to, express his feelings. So I think we're two different individuals, but we spent a lot of time together. Vladdy was the beast, he was a good fighter too, was very strong, and he had so much skill. And unfortunately, guys didn't sometimes accepting him that way, he was, because, they thought everybody has to be like me, funny, talking, crazy. And Vladdy was more like, I play my game, I go home, so that was difficult for him in the beginning.
My favorite story about him was, I believe he was out with a knee injury, but he was caught skiing in Montreal.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, that's okay. Skiing and skating is two different things.
Hey, it's fun.
There's no hitting and skiing.
I also read one of your first purchases when you started making money playing hockey was a Versace jacket. You like the designer stuff?
Oh, coming from, former Soviet Union, Versace was huge, So I don't know. The jacket looked good to me. I had, it cost $5,000 in the 90s, so it was a lot of money. I didn't, when I came to NHL, I had no concept of money, because I didn't know the value of money, because I grew up on $100 a month salary in Russia. So when they gave me, $450,000 my first year, my contract, I didn't know what to do with that, So me and Vladdy had the most expensive cars on the team, both rookies. I think I had a first cell phone. on the team, I think guys hated us in the beginning because, he had a BMW 850. I had BMW 740. I had my Motorola cell phone with a $1,000 bill a month. So
you were Kovalev now, hey?
Yeah.
It was like it came full circle. You couldn't stand him the way you came in as the rookie, and then you did it when you got to the island.
Yeah, but I didn't. I enjoyed the life. And so we believed. We were raised that, you live once, so enjoy it. I remember Patrick Flatley always telling us, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you save. And he was wearing the same pants over and over every day.
The Rob Scuderi special, eh, Whit?
Yeah.
Now, Darius, as a rookie in 1993, you were part of one of the biggest upsets in playoff history. The Islanders knock off the heavily favored Penguins in 7 games. They had won the 2 previous Stanley Cups. What was the big reason your team was able to pull that off? And were you aware, how big of the significance that was when it happened?
Oh, yeah, because I knew right before the playoff series started, nobody gave us any chance to win a game. I remember my friends betting, say, if you beat Pittsburgh in 1 game, we'll buy you a case of beer or something like that. So I was like, I don't think we had pressure to, we had no expectations. We just executed our game plan. And, I think by winning a second game, of the series, they gave us a little hope. So, and then we got lucky a couple of times, and it just, and the game 7, anything can happen. I remember in game 7, we're up 3-1, like 2 minutes left in the game, and they scored 2 goals. And we're like, oh shit, I don't think we're gonna beat this team. And then David Wallach, he scored Game 7 overtime goal. It happens, But yeah, it was huge. It was very big for us. I think that's why we had no emotional. We emotionally were like so high. So playing Canadians in the semifinals, I don't think we had anything left in our tank.
Well, RA, I think you left out the biggest component. You drove Mario absolutely insane that series, and that was probably one of the biggest standouts. Had you figured out how to play him, how to make him upset on the ice?
Not really, no. Anything you see in my first year, it was just a reaction. And I just played the game, I not anybody, if I play against anybody, even Mario, it doesn't matter. I play against anybody like that. But unfortunately, it was Mario. Good for me, it was Mario, because that's probably how people got not to notice me more. But even when I remember he cross-checked me in the back, I was like, "Who the hell are you, man?" So I remember I get up from the ice and punch him back in the face. And, Mario fell. Now he looks stupid. But then, I was just like reacting to the situation. And of course people loved it. So we tried to play physical against them, but I think even we played in the regular season, they probably killed us. I think like 7-1 or something, one game. So I don't think I don't think when I play the game, I don't have respect for anyone. You know what I'm saying? I respect players because they play the game, but I don't like, I'm not going to hit this guy because he has the name, I just play against anybody the same way. I don't discriminate because the guy is the superstar and, the other guy is third-line player, you know what I'm saying?
That's exactly why you played so long. And when you came over your rookie year, I'm guessing it was Mario, but was he the one guy or was it anyone else who you were like, holy shit, this is the best hockey player I've ever seen, right? That first year, were there any few guys that kind of stood out?
Yeah, Jagr was amazing in the 90s, It was amazing. I think it's still amazing now, but it was a lot of players, Messier, his leadership, you can sense, when you play the Rangers, that's why I always went after him because I drove him crazy. I think one game, he took 7 penalties on me. So, I knew if you hit Messier, then everybody's going to come. Adam Graves going to go after you, Tony Amonte, Joe Kosher. Guys like that, so it was fun, but it was a lot of talented players. I feel like the league was so much bigger when I came to the league. You had some huge guys playing. I think that's why I'm not a big guy, but I think that was so easy for me to hit players because they were so big.
Darius, I was going to ask you about your jaywalking ticket you got in Calgary, and does that even exist in Russia?
Well, it doesn't exist in New York. It was stupid. I was walking on the red light. You know what happened? Actually, I was walking and the car was going towards me, and the car like flashed or whatever, beeped, and I showed him the middle finger, and there was a cop. That's why. But I didn't know there was a cop. It was undercover cop.
Undercover. So oh God.
Yeah. So I just he pulls over on the sidewalk. He goes, "Go in the car." I'm like, "No, I'm not going in the car." He goes, "Go in the car." I was like, "For what?" He said, "For jaywalking." I'm like, "I'm not going in the car." And then Rob Brown and Brad Varenka, they were like, making fun of me. "Oh, check his ID. He's illegal in this country. You have to deport him." They were making fun of me. So I was scared. I thought this cop was gonna drive me outside of Calgary and leave me in like somewhere in the forest. So I told the guy, "I'm so sorry. I left them tickets for the game next day, and I think I got off easy, but I didn't realize that was a cop.
Darius, I want to ask you. Mike Milbury was your coach for a period in New York. Was he a good coach, and did you get along with him?
Oh, I think Mike appreciates my style of my game. You know what I'm saying? But it was very emotional, very open-minded, and a little bit on the crazy side. I never forget that in the preseason, I think we were playing poker in one of the rooms, and Mick Mukoda was very upset with something, and so he started throwing beer bottles out of the window. I don't know why. And when I knocked on the door, it was a Mike Milbury standing. And Mick McGuire was hiding behind the door. So it was me, Scarlett Chance, Marty McInnes, and Travis Green. And Mike Milbury goes, "You're fucked." you guys are out. So we're like, and then, Mick realized that, we got in trouble. So he tried to fight Mike Milbury in the hotel, in the hallway. And I think that was the last time Mick would have played for New York Islanders. But it was
someone tried to break it up. Like, how did that all play out?
Yeah, I think Marty McKinnis and Travis Green tried to break him up.
That's old school hockey right there.
That's old school hockey. And then the funniest thing was Mick was so mad. So next morning he woke everybody were supposed to meet in the lobby, and we got this big garbage bags as a team. We have to go pick up all the Mick's garbage in the parking lot, all the bottles and shit. And then it's a scene that the telephone hanging off the window on the cable. Mixed with the telephone off the window.
Hey, I had one more question about that 93 run. I mean, you beat Pittsburgh, this amazing upset. And I always wonder, for guys in that game, what was your reaction? What do you remember about the Dale Hunter hit on your best player, Pierre Turgeon, after he scored that OT winner? I mean, one of the dirtiest plays in NHL history. I'm wondering if you remember that right off the top of your head.
Oh, I remember, it was weird. We were celebrating, and then we see Pierre, down in the corner, and then, he's become a huge scrum. Then I saw the replay. But that was very nasty. I think, I don't think Dale Hunter tried to injure him. I think it was just frustrating. And it happened, unfortunately, that Pierre lost his balance and hit the boards. I don't think he tried to, honestly injure the guy, I don't think we as the players tried to do that, I totally, understand his frustration probably, and it just happened that, guy got hurt and it was a bad accident.
You played with Ron Hextall for a brief stretch. Did you ever see any snapshots out of him? He was known for losing his cool once in a while.
Yeah, Hextall was, I played with two unique individuals. When Ron Hextall came to the team and Keith Acton, Ron Hextall was so tall and Keith Acton was so short, and they always hang out together. Bad dressers also. I think it's from a Patrick Flatley school of fashion. But Ron Hextall was fun. He was very emotional goalie. He was always chirping. He was a funny guy in the locker room. I had a good good time with him.
Did you have an inkling that you were going to get moved over? You ended up going from the Islanders to the Penguins. Did you have any clue that trade was coming?
No, it's weird. What happened? I remember flying home from one of the exhibition games, I think, or something like that. And Mark Milbury was talking to every player on the team, and then he talked to me. He said, "Listen, I love you. I love the style you play. Your passion for the game. You're here until I'm here." So, and I remember packing for the West Coast trip, and I had a phone call that evening, and Mike Milbury goes, "Sorry, Kaspar, you got traded to Pittsburgh." I was like, "You're not real. You're not serious." He was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry." I'm like, "You cannot do that. They fucking hate me there. I can't go to Pittsburgh because they basically, that was our number one enemy after the playoffs. Every time I play in Pittsburgh after the playoffs, they hated me there." And I was
That's
like,
why they brought you in.
And I was like, shit, I started crying. I was so shocked that, I got traded because I thought I was going to play for Islanders until I retire. So it was a very painful experience. But then, I come to Pittsburgh and see all the, big power players like Lemieux, Francis, Tom Barrasso, Jagger. It was like I was nervous, I was very nervous.
Was it just bad timing, or did he have an inkling that you were going to get traded, and then he dropped the, you're never going anywhere while I'm here, and then the same day, hey, bud?
Honestly, I have something I heard that Joe Spano, the fake owner of the team, promised Mario. I think Mario asked Joe Spano if, he can trade a defenseman for the forward. And I think Mario wanted me, I guess, on the team. So Joe Spano said, yeah, why not? You can have him. I'm not real anyways. I'm here. So he traded me. I think he called Mike Milbury and said, you have to trade him. When the owner tells you to do that. I think you have to ask Mike Milbury. That's, I don't know if he's going to admit it, but I heard that was a scenario why he traded me after telling me he's not going to trade me. You know?
That's an incredible story. Let's just pretend it's real. The fake owner traded you because Mario told him to.
Yeah. So, but it's okay. I had a blast in Pittsburgh for 6 years. I think that was my best hockey career I had in Pittsburgh.
So when you got there, how did the locker room react to you, given the history of what had transpired the previous years?
I remember the moment I walked in the locker room, the younger Jagger is looking like, oh shit, not you. Now we have to wear, he goes, now we have to wear shoulder pads in practice. I was like, what do you mean? So I go in practice, they have no helmets, no shoulder pads. I was like, what the hell's going on here? It's like freelancing Penguins hockey. I was like, wow, this is cool. So the practice were like 10 minutes. EJ was the coach, Eddie Johnson. No, what's the name? EJ, yeah. EJ, I don't know the full name. But and the skate after practice was if you hit the empty net from the red line, you don't have to skate. So I think that was introduction to Pittsburgh. And everybody played poker on the plane. Like we had people gambling everywhere. So I fit right in there, with the players.
Were you shocked at some of the numbers being thrown around, especially by Jagr? Because I think everyone's well aware that he's not shy to throw the money around when gambling.
Well, I didn't know about these gamble issues in casinos, but we played poker on a plane. A little more friendly game. Maybe you can lose $6,000 over,
in '95.
A lot of IOUs.
Yeah, but you also have a blue light special. So you lose 6,000. You go like, can I pay 2,000 cash tomorrow? You're like, okay. So we had blue light special.
We had those too.
I have a check. Actually, I wish I saved it. Written to Marilyn you.
What, he wrote one to you, or you had to write one to him?
I wrote it to him. He beat me in poker. Yeah.
Oh, guy got to own the team afterward, and he's taking all your guys' money.
How much?
I know, but I think it was 6,000.
No blue light special.
So that's why he owes me money. 60,000 now.
Now, back then, Jagr was said to be a moody player. So, when Mario was out, he had left for a little while with health issues. When Jagr, did his demeanor affect the room at all when he was kind of being moody? Did that have any effect on the team?
Not really. Yax, was a special individual. We respected his style of play. And, different players react differently, when they have a competitive spirit. Like me, maybe I act with aggression. He acts maybe sometimes acts like a baby, but he really means well. You know what I'm saying? And he has a high demands from his teammates. And I feel sometimes when I play lunch hockey, I feel like Yaks, you know what I'm saying? Because nobody can pass puck to me because they don't read my game, So I think that's how Jagr felt frustrated sometimes. Or big players like Lemieux, when we, blue-collar players cannot pass the puck from stick to stick, they get upset.
Oh, shit. My God. Well, I think of your time in Pittsburgh and, some of the biggest hits you've ever seen in the NHL. Most notably, you got Lindros with that one. And so that's always how you'd played, but all of a sudden you're pissing off different teams as opposed to the Penguins. Like, what do you remember about the Flyers going after you? What do you remember about that Lindros hit? Had to be kind of a crazy time with what he'd been through.
When you hit somebody, you don't try to injure the guy. You try to hurt him, but not injure. You know what I'm saying? You try to send get the message. And I remember hitting Eric. I didn't realize, he's going to get hurt. I thought it was a big hit and people went crazy. But when you see the guy down, you kind of feel a little bit bad. You know what I'm saying? And then, we had a back-to-back game. So next day I was playing in Philly. And that's actually the first time in my life I was afraid of my life because people were calling me in my room, sending me weird messages that I gotta die. We have a sniper, shit like that. So I was like, it was no NHL security those days. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of, thought it was a joke. But I remember, playing the next day in Philly, and most of the time I was in the penalty box because guys would go after me every single shift. That wasn't really comfortable. But I have to answer I have to answer what I did the night before. So even I was not a fighter, but still try to fight smaller guys than me, especially if they sweets.
Were you guys able to communicate? Were you guys able to communicate because you guys ended up playing together in New York? Like, I mean, you talk about awkward entrances into the Penguins locker room. That's probably another one you had to face.
Oh, you know what happened? Midnight, when you become a free agent, I had a phone call from Eric Lindros, and he said, "Listen, I have no hard feelings against you. I really love you as a teammate if you decide to play for New York Rangers." And I was like, wow, that was cool. You know what I'm saying? He called me actually personally, told me if I sign with the Rangers, there's no hard feelings. And he would love to, be, as my teammate. So, Eric was a very classy player. Even when I played there, he was a big goof, Nobody understands Eric, but Eric was a big goof,
Did that sway your opinion at all? Or like, were you still planning on going there?
I think money swayed my opinion. I honestly, when Rangers gave me my contract, I told my agent there was too much money because I was shocked. No, honestly. When you become a free agent, you feel like, all right, I was making 1.1, so if I make 1.6 or 1.8, I'd be so happy. And when my agent called me, he goes, 4.2 a year. I was like, what? Are you crazy? That's too much money, And he goes, don't tell anybody that you think that.
The Hamburglar, yeah.
That's a lot of Versace jackets.
I was going to say.
Versace. That was like Bentley, Ferrari.
I actually want to go back to before the Rangers. Now, you got traded to Colorado late in the 2002 season. You only played 11 games for them. Because they were so good, they had just come off a Stanley Cup. Did you want to re-sign with the Avs? Was there any chance of that happening? Or they didn't meet your money offer?
No, I think it was a rental player. I don't think they even, it was more like, try to have a run in the playoffs, which we did. Unfortunately, we lost Game 7 to Detroit Red Wings. But, when I got traded to Colorado, it was a totally different atmosphere. It was guys are so, being in Pittsburgh, especially my last couple of seasons in Pittsburgh, the team was in the financial problems, and we were changing coaches every year. And you go to Colorado, Stanley Cup champions, everybody's so professional, like kind of geeky team, I felt like they were so geeky, they're watching Price is Right before they practice. I was like, what the fuck's going on? I was always
smoking cigarettes on the way to the rink.
Yeah, playing like a Game Boy or Nintendo. I was like, wow, this is weird, But I play with some great players.
Is any truth to the rumor that, I mean, you see it a ton now, everybody salutes the home crowd after a home win. Were you the first player in New York Rangers history to start that trend? And had you done it back home in Russia?
No, we used to do it in Europe, Russia, Europe, where kind of, say thanks to the fans for supporting us. So what happened, I remember we we had this overtime shootouts against Capitals, and you remember Marek Malik's goal through the legs. And now it was two guys left on the bench, me and Marek Malik. So
Brody, he went before you.
Oh my God! I can't believe they
Marek
picked him before
Malik.
you.
So no, but I was like Marek Malik didn't want to go, and I was like to Coach Randy, I go, Coach, put me in. Coach goes, I go before you go, Coach. I was like, what? Are you serious? And then Marek Malik goes, I'm like, wow, what a bad choice. And he makes that move. We went crazy. And then we were so excited. So I go to Yaks, let's go put everybody in the middle and raise our sticks to the fans, to just, say thank you. And that's what we did. And people went crazy. So we started doing that after every home win. So basically, that's how it started. But I know it's gonna, keep doing that now.
And another cool thing is apparently you were Henrik Lundqvist's first road roommate.
Not road. It actually was my roommate in my house. Because not roommate, he lived in my house for a little bit with his girlfriend, wife now, Therese. And I show Henrik how to live the style of an NHL player.
Did you teach him how to do the highlights in his hair? Because wasn't he doing the frosted tips like that back then?
No, but I remember me and Kevin Wicks always making fun of him, because he had this different style, skinny ties and shit like that. So we were like, oh my God, look at this guy, But Henrik is nobody knew he's going to be a legend, He was just a Swedish guy who came to the league and had a chance to play, and he took his chance and became a legend.
Another teammate in New York you had, I guess he's a pretty interesting character, you might say, Bobby Holik. What were your experiences like with him?
So Bobby Holik was, it was different. He was actually a very educated person. He always brought his IQ to the next level. So we both play, with under Glenn Sater. And I don't think maybe our expectations were so high that we didn't meet our expectations. But Bobby was a very strong and very powerful forward. I don't think even that forward like that size.
Earlier parts in your career when you're on the road and you're always staying over before the private flights and stuff, were you always going out with the boys? Were you somebody that loved living it up on the road in the NHL?
Oh my God, that was my first year. That's why I quit drinking in 1994, because I couldn't keep up with the guys. You know what I'm saying? And that's the best thing I ever did. I quit drinking in May 1994. Because every game you play, you go out, you drink, you come home, you go to practice, then you go out again and drink in the bar. You know what I'm saying? It was just like every day, beer. So I think it was fun, but it was I don't know, if we can do this. If we can, today players can do that, because it was constantly going out and having fun.
Now, after the lockout in 2005, there were new rules, or I should say they were enforcing old rules. Did you have to adjust your game a bunch after that, considering they were cutting down on a bunch of stuff?
Not really, no. I was already, that was my coming to the end of my career. I think I was not using my hip check as much, because I remember a couple of times using hip check, I was called penalties for clipping, which means you go below knees. So I was trying to play more, different style, and I was very high-paid defenseman. So I have to play a more offensive hockey. But not really. No, I didn't realize the change in the game. I just got older, probably.
Now, the Rangers at one point, they actually loaned you to the Russian Super League, which is now the KHL. I know teams that do that with AHL teams all the time, but was it unusual back then for the Rangers to loan you to a team over in Russia?
Oh, because what happened, my salary was not fitting in the salary cap of the team, and I was sent down to Hartford. And
you warned them. Hey, you warned them.
I told them
I'm making too much.
And then Dan Girardi took my spot. They didn't realize he's going to play that good, So they had a guy who was young and making $300,000 a year, and then a guy who was older like me and making $4 million a year, or 3.2 because it was a pay cut, rollback and shit like that. So they asked me. I remember Jim Schoenfeld in Hartford goes, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "This is a development league." I'm like, "Yeah, what do you want to do? Retired?" He goes, "No, what do you want to go? You want to go play in Russia?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" But they still made me go from Hartford to Toronto for the road trip on the bus. That was my most painful experience.
You're like, "Jim, do you think I want to be here? What do you mean, what are you doing here? It's not my choice."
I know. But that was so crazy. And they made me go to Toronto. They told me I'm not going to play because, they're going to send me to Russia. So I go to Toronto. I say, let me go for a run. I go maybe 10-mile run before the game, then ride a bike for 40 minutes. And then one of the guys get hurt in warm-ups, defenseman. And they go, "Kasper, can you play?" I was like, "Are you serious?" I was like... So basically, I played a game. I think I scored 2 goals, It was crazy,
We don't see as much, I guess you'd call it, fear and intimidation in the league as we used to. Now, if you played in today's NHL, how often do you think you get fined or suspended with your style of play?
Oh, I don't think I will get suspended. It's so easy now. I watch the players play, and so many players skate with their head down. You just have to figure out the rules, because I always explain people, when you commit to the hit, it's hard to change your mind. You know what I'm saying? And with the rules now, it's hard. Like if I want to go hit somebody and the guy's skating with the head down and I want to hit him, and he does something in the last second, I can't change him. I don't know what he's going to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's different. I was taught as a kid, look for somebody with the head down and hit him. You know what I'm saying? But right now, I guess this is a different rules. I don't think you have to hit. You're not allowed to hit a guy with the head down or in a vulnerable position. And I don't know. It's hard to answer the question, but I probably will be still playing the same way.
How many of your kids followed up in your footsteps and play hockey?
None of them. You know, I really love soccer, especially Manchester City, and my dream city all the time. So my dream, you know, I have 3 girls, which is you know the Bored movie.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. And then I have 3 boys. One boy plays basketball, but I don't think it's going to be, you know, anywhere good. And I have a boy who's 7, is very good soccer player. And I have a boy who's 4, going to be 5. You know, he can play. Maybe he's going to play hockey, but so far, no hockey. I tell you what, I used to take my 4 kids to skate with the hockey gear. So I would take me 45 minutes to dress them up, 45 minutes to drive them. Then I go on ice with them, spend 2 hours skating. And I looked, you know, they had no talent. So I was, why should I waste my fucking time doing all this shit? Because they don't appreciate the game anyways. So I you know, my girls play volleyball, boy plays basketball.
I hope you broke it to him a little bit lighter than that.
No, but I didn't tell him that. You know, I told him that, you know, it's very time consuming.
Yeah. It's like golf.
Yeah.
Now, do you watch a lot of NHL games these days? Do you keep track of the league?
You know, I don't follow as much as Manchester City. But no, I watch Panthers a lot for the Panthers. It's a fun team to watch. You know, they're very excited. You know, they play hard, they hit, they score. You know, it's fun team to watch. You know, sometimes I go to Ranger games in Madison Square Garden. Sometimes I go, Islanders, Pittsburgh. You know, it's fun. You know, it's fun to be alumni and travel, and then you know, see your old teammates, and you know, that's you know, most of the time that's how I watch hockey.
I've been told there were some legendary training summers and skates at Nelson Peltz's house in Connecticut when you were part of the Rangers. My buddy Merles, who's a favorite of the show, he said he'd be there with you. You brought Ryan Hallweg and Jed Ortmeyer, be screaming at him to train harder and stuff. But what was it like there? Because St. Louis and a bunch of guys train there in the summers, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize. I remember these kids go, yeah, come skate to our house. And I lived like maybe 5 miles from them. I lived in Armand. And they live in Mount Kisco. So I was like, okay, what should I do? Okay, let me dress up. So I put all my gear, hockey gear, and I drive to their house. And I realized they have a huge, you know, 100-acre property, you know, and I drive into this ring, which is like almost the same size as, you know, any practice ring they have. And, you know, they see me coming out of my car with my hockey gear on. And they're like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? You know, but it was fun. You know, Nelson Peltz, he led practice. I think a lot of hockey players, especially from Northeast, went through his, you know, system and practice there, skate, have fun. And the family was very, you know, good to me and to a lot of hockey players.
Darius, I don't know if you follow all this analytics stuff. It's all the talk nowadays. Do you follow any of it? Do you understand any of it? Do you care about it? And is it too much of a factor nowadays?
Honestly, I don't follow anything like that, you know, because I don't even know. At least I don't even know how to sharpen my skates yet. You know, I don't know. They asked me what number. I was like, can you just make it sharp? You know, I don't really go into details like that. I try to simplify my life. You know what I'm saying? Even especially a game of hockey, you know, you put the skates on and you go play. I think there's no analytics in attitude of the players and sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really follow that.
Great point.
I guess, you know, you had like I said, a 14-year career. How do you think you're remembered as an NHL player? What's your legacy in the league that you think you left?
Well, I think my home teams probably think that as a hard-nosed, passionate hockey player. And if you ask the other, 26 teams, probably asshole, dirty player. You know, I hate him. But, you know, I don't care. You know, that means I play my game hard. And, if people hated me from the other teams, that means, you know, they hated me for a reason, not because I was just like some guy sitting on the bench and talking trash.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
guys, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for joining. Yeah. I mean, it was a pleasure to watch you play and to talk to you. It was pretty cool hearing these old stories and how you came to be such a good player. So we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure, Darius. I don't think we ever laughed this hard before.
And Darius, one quick one before you leave. So are you still sober? Did you stop drinking for good?
Yeah, I'm still sober. Actually, I rediscovered myself in 2006, but I quit. I've been sober and clean for 11 years.
Wow. Congratulations, man. That's awesome. You look great, man.
Thank you so much. And I'm vegan too, vegan.
Oh, look at you.
Don't make fun of me, please.
Jesus. I ain't saying shit to you.
I'm vegan for 4 years. Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Well, thanks so much.
Bye,
thanks
guys.
so much for joining us, Darius.
Thank you so much to Darius Kasparitis. What a career he had. What a warrior he was, and a funny bastard to boot. So we really appreciate that. And I need to tell you guys that interview was brought to you by G4. G4 is an amazing golf gear company, and they got a new lineup for spring of your favorite on-course shoes, the Gallivanters. I love that name, the Gallivanters, because I used to gallivant around town, me and Murley. That's what we'd say. We're gallivanting. And now you can rock the Gallivanter golf shoes because G4 is where it's at. Check out the flagship shoe for yourself on G4.com. That's GFORE.com. Explore new spring colorways to fit your style and enhance your game on the course. These new styles will be sure to catch eyes on the course, and also they're comfortable. They are very comfortable and they look good. The Gallivanters are made from premium pebble, full grain leather, and a cleat design for optimal on-course traction. I'm talking, you're not worried if it's a wet day out on the course. You are going to have the traction you need and look good doing it. So check out GFORE.com/Chiclets and get 10% off your first order today. Do it right now. G4.com/Chiclets.
Way to crush it, Wit Dog.
Thank you. I'm just hammering out ads today. I love it.
Absolutely, yeah, buddy. Our weekly Ovechkin update. Tuesday in Calgary, he tied Jaromir Jagr with his second goal of the game and his 766th of his career. And then I got skunked on Twitter. His next game, they looked like he was going to score. I think it was Kuznetsov who knocked it in. It might have crossed the line, might not have, but either way, he's still tied with Jagr. It's going to break it soon, so we'll keep you on tabs on that. A few signings to get to. Dallas locked up the ageless Joe Pavelski for next season with a $5.5 million deal. Could be worth up to $6 million with games played bonuses. He'll get $100,000 for 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 games played. Also has a no-move clause. No surprise there. This guy, 37 years old, with fucking looks 27, right?
Oh, my God. Does he ever, RA? Actually, I'm forgetting who it was. It might have been a random kid that was playing in the Chiclets Cup that was on a flight with him to the All-Star game out in Vegas. They're like, that guy's a man rocket high. Like, yeah, I've been saying since this podcast began, Joe Pavelski is unreal at everything. I guess that includes his looks. He's a good-looking cat. He's got great hair, a stick golfer. I've mentioned this a million times. The ping pong, doesn't matter what you do, Joe Pavelski's the best at it. I am a little disappointed because I thought he was going to be the number one forward on the market at trade deadline day, but the way Dallas has played, they've turned everything around. They are a team I do not want to see in the playoffs if I'm a top seed and I have to play the Stars in the first round, because that team is buzzing right now. They got a great setup in net. They got a great setup out front. They got this new age star in Robertson kind of carrying the load, while also Sagan and Ben can play in the playoffs. And Pavelski, he deserves that. I think he's taken that 1-year deal because maybe he's not even sure how long he wants to play. But I don't see him as a guy really slowing down because he's never been the fastest skater. He's always been the best tipper in front of the net. He's always been smart and reliable defensively. So it's a contract well deserved, and it's a happy staff in Dallas to have him back for another year.
Yeah,
no doubt. More tips than a boy with that guy. Seattle signed forward Jared McCann to a 5-year, $25 million extension. 25-year-old has 33 points in 50 games played thus far. Philadelphia extended defenseman Rasmus Ristolainen with a 5-year, $25.5 million deal. A lot of speculation he might have got dealt. I know Philly gave up quite a bit for him, but they're deciding he's going to be part of their future after a pretty shitty year for that team. And let's see, a little front office action. Norm McIver, he's back in Chicago after new GM Kyle Davidson hired him as an associate GM. He was most recently the director of player personnel for Seattle after spending 14 years with the Blackhawks in various roles. So they brought him back into the fold. Other news here, Colorado defenseman Cale Makar, his assist streak ended at 13 games. He did break Joe Sakic's franchise record for consecutive games with a helper, set back in 91-92. And Makar's assist streak is the 5th longest by a defenseman in league history, like we mentioned last week. Coffey, Leach, Orr, and Housey, the only 4 more with a longer streak than him.
I've gotten a lot of heat from saying that Makar's locked up the Norris, and the main complaint is about Yossi, which is such a valid argument. He's got 17 goals now. It's just he's the best player on Nashville,
and a lot less offensively to work with.
Exactly, and that's what a couple.
He can lug the mail just as good as Makar.
Oh, what?
Okay. You want to fuck it? I go back. Maybe not this year, but in prior years. Look up the stat of defensemen that take it from their own zone to the offensive zone, and that is literally the definition of lugging the mail. Gurnelli, help me out, please.
But Biz, if you're saying okay, stat wise, I'm not even arguing and saying it's that crazy, but I'm saying eye test. If you watch him carry the puck up the ice, as good as it looks, and then you watch Makar,
they ask how many, buddy.
Are you gonna have a real discussion with me right now? I'm sitting in this office in Fort Lauderdale. You watch Cale Makar carry the puck up ice. You really think Yossi looks the same? Come on, dude.
I never said that it looks the same. I said
he's as good as logging at logging the whatever it is.
In prior years, Roman.
But we're
Yossi,
talking about this year.
Correct. He might even still be doing it this year. I'm just saying, as far as a defenseman who's able to lug the mail from the defensive zone to the offensive zone, Roman Yossi finds himself at the top of the list year over year. And I said has even less offensive guys to work with to put up the offensive numbers that he does, and he also leads his team in points. Now, Gurnelli, I don't know if you're able to find that stat. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, hold on. Gee. Biz, all those things are great points. And the reason I brought this up is because it is a valid argument. To say he's locked up the Norris was probably incorrect by me, but I'm giving it to Makar solely saying locked up because Yossi already has one.
Right.
That's kind of what I'm going with. He already has a Norris.
Okay.
So the controlled exit leaders for the 2021-2022 season were Erik Karlsson, then Roman Yossi, John Klimberg, Bowen Byram, Thomas Chabot, Morgan Riley, Dmitry Orlov, Hiskinen, Wallman, and then Walker.
Where's Makar?
He wasn't on there.
Suck on that, Whit. No.
You would be an advanced stats guy. You're an advanced stats guy. I'm talking about watching Makar skate up the ice. I'm talking about Makar opening up his hips and walking by guys. I feel like he is the best and most impressive to the eye test of seeing a defenseman skate with the puck up ice. I'm sorry, and we can agree to disagree.
All right.
RA, whose side you picking?
His nose.
Makar's tough to fucking disagree with, man. The way he just fucking skates.
Biz has called him the McDavid of defensemen, and now he's
I never handed him the Norris.
But you called him the McDavid of defensemen, and what's he the best at? Skating with the puck.
And just like McDavid, he's second in line next to Matthews.
All right. Okay.
Bitch.
We can move her along. Detroit forward.
Thanks, Grinnell, by the way, for looking that up for me. If you find Makar on another, maybe it was like the first 10 and then he's on the second 10, let us know if you can find it. But if not, no worries.
All righty then.
Bitch.
Fuck you. Detroit forward Robbie Fabry. He's going to miss the rest of the year due to yet another suspected ACL tear. This poor bastard.
No, not the same knee, is it?
No, this time in his right knee. He's already had the same injury in the left knee a couple times. So you got to feel awful for this poor guy. What he's gone through. He's he has resurrected his career in Detroit. He's been having a great year. And then this happens again. And they had the press conference with Jeff Blazel, his coach, and you could tell his coach is so devastated. It felt so awful for him that he's going through the same injury in a different knee again. So, Robbie, man, what
silver lining. If it was the other knee, it could have been the end. So he can come back from this, but that is so brutal. I feel bad for that kid. Biz and I have mentioned we became friendly with him at training camp when we were the class clowns, and he was a young rookie, and that sucks. I feel really bad for him. Hopefully he gets back healthy for next year.
That training camp, I was like, people are going to scald me for this one. He looked like the next Paul Kariya, just an absolute water bug out there. I'm like, this guy is going to be the next biggest thing in the NHL. And then what was it? He tore his ACL, right? That training camp?
Yeah, that was the first one.
Oh,
Did you say people are going to scald you for this?
Scold me like is that a
Scold.
Gold. Oh, Skull.
Scold.
Skull.
Guys, speaking of injuries,
Calorie sap.
Speaking of injuries, just over the wire, Jacob Chikrin, he's going to be out the next 2 to 4 weeks. So I don't know how much that's going to play into the trade factor. And we are going to get to all the trade talk coming up here with David Pagnotta. Awesome guy. I don't know who else, but he started the Fourth Period magazine with a couple guys. I used to do some funny ass photo shoots with these guys, the mustache ride. And
it can't be printed in magazines of families, though.
If you're most cringeworthy photo shoots of all time.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about now.
Definitely up top. Biz in the Fourth Period, if you guys want to check it out.
Shaka. Okay, we will get to that shortly. The Burby Shaka picks too, as I say that. Chicago defenseman Connor Murphy, he was stretched off the ice with an upper body injury after a hit from Ottawa's Parker Kelly. Now, Kelly was given a 5-minute major for boarding. I don't think it was a dirty, intentional hit. It was one of those situations where it looked like Murphy might have turned at the last second. I'm not assigning blame to him. It's just an unfortunate situation where a guy was down. But fortunately, we got the Ben Stiller thumbs up. That's always a good sign when the guy's getting stretched off the ice. He gives the old Ben Stiller thumbs up. He's feeling well. Hopefully, he's going to be feeling better going forward. So it's just a tough situation to watch. And this is another thing the Oilers would. Did you ever wear the steel sperm jersey when you were there?
No, I didn't have the honor, but that jersey's
I don't know if that's an honor.
Buddy, I don't dislike that jersey as much you're talking about. I mean, maybe it looks like a kind of a sperm, but put it this way. Sam Gagne sent me a picture today. He's in Edmonton. He's doing some signings because the Wings play the Oilers tonight now that you're listening to this on Tuesday. And he sent me a picture, and in the picture, he was wearing like the old white jersey they had with like the one blue line. It's the worst. That jersey they're bringing back with the sperm rocket, that's way better than some of the other Oilers jerseys. I do not dislike it as much as you've been calling out for that.
The Mr. Stahl special.
the Mr. Hughes the rocket launcher. I don't hate the jersey. Baster. I like that they're bringing it back. It's different.
I think it's a great third jersey.
I'm just laughing. Fucking business constant continuation with the fucking sperm jokes. Yeah, I don't know. I just not a big fan of it. I don't know. It's like an oil drop that looks like a steel sperm thing. So what are you gonna do?
Oh, does it grind your gears?
Actually, you know what? It would make my gears run pretty good because it's like oil and shit. So
there you go, buddy. Did you take an edible halfway through the pod or a bam?
No.
You all right over there? Are you melting into that new chair of yours?
I could be. No, I'm laughing my balls off at you two because you've been fucking making me laugh my balls off tonight.
Did you hear me say that your gears run on cum is what you're saying? If it would help your gears move smoothly and you're calling it cum?
Whoa.
What do you mean? Whoa, you said it would make my gears run smoothly, but it's sperm.
No, I meant oil, oil, like that's what I'm saying. Like not sperm. I meant oil. Like oil would make my gears. Does it grind your gears? I said no. Oil would make my gears run.
All right, yes or no? $250K cash. Would you drink a 1 ounce shot of sperm? Not your own.
Whose? It's sperm. The
fact that he's asking whose means it's a yes.
Well, I mean, animal.
Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank. I was just gonna say Frank the Tank.
Really?
I love
the minute he said who, and I was like, who's?
Well, that's why I asked about animal, person.
But if it's semen. Like sperm, who cares what the part? Like you don't.
Well, because sperm and semen, the two different things. All semen, not all semen has sperm, and sperm is like you can separate from semen. Yeah, exactly, right. So careful before you give me a proposition like that, because I'm gonna bust the lawyers out on your asses. Yeah, no, honestly, Bism, it's gonna take a lot of money for me to drink jizz.
$500K cash.
A lot of money.
$750K cash.
A lot of money. I mean, for me to drink a shot of, I will just say jizz, whatever you want to call it, sperm, semen, whether they had a vasectomy or not. Fuck, man. Like if it's George Clooney starting with fucking.
Why does the looks of the person matter?
Because you fucking. I mean, it's like, I guess, like blowing a guy. I mean,
I think you want a vegetarian.
Oh, it is not like blowing a guy, dude.
I mean, like as far as swallow, like I mean, you're swallowing the load, whether it's in a shot glass or you're like taking it.
I think we've lost every single listener. It's just us at this point.
Hey, you idiots! You're the ones asking. I'm just trying to play the role here.
It was
But
Biz's question.
It would take a lot of money for me to fucking do a shot.
I threw up in this guy's office, unfortunately.
I mean, fuck, man. All right, let's move along here before we lose more of our audience. Team USA won its 4th straight gold medal and 5th overall at the Paralympics when they beat Team Canada 5-0. So congrats to the boys on another victory. Josh Pauls, great job, brother.
They have a wagon. They're the dynasty of sled hockey, right?
Absolute wagon. No doubt about it. No doubt about it whatsoever. So
they're the nose face killer of
sled hockey.
Sled hockey.
There you go. All right, Biz, you already mentioned the Minnesota State hockey tournaments. Lots of good highlights coming out of there. Lots of good highlights as well. The trade deadline, we're going to get to that with Dave Pagnotta in a second. We discussed most teams with him. I'm not sure if there were any other things you wanted to bring up before we got to Dave. We obviously talked about Giordano. Pierre LeBrun said that Seattle's going to be trying to unload him, possibly Jonas Donskoy, Callie Jankrog. Jake DeBrusk, what do you think he gets dealt or not?
No. Things have changed. He asked for a trade. Since then, he's played the best hockey of his career. The Bruins are buzzing. I cannot say that he still doesn't want to be traded, but the Bruins can't mess with what's going on right now. They're hunting down Biz's Leafs. They're hunting down a top 3 spot from being in the division and not a wild card team. And I think DeBrusk stays. He looks good.
All right. We talked about Marc-Andre Fleury with Dave, but a couple other Blackhawks, Brandon Hagel, Calvin DeHaan, Dominic Kubalik. Biz, do you think these guys end up elsewhere after
I don't give two shits.
He doesn't even know who they are.
I don't even know. They play in the NHL?
Yeah. All right, motherfuckers. Then with that said, we're going to go to Dave Pagnotta. This interview is brought to you by our friends at Sling TV. If you love watching live sports, but you're tired of the high prices, it's time to take control of your TV experience. It's time you got Sling. Sling is the place where your favorite sports channels like ESPN, FS1, TNT, and more come together for less. Watch exclusive Barstool content and past episodes of Chiclets, The Yak, and Stool Streams. We have our exclusive channel on Sling as well. And it's the cheapest way to watch college hoops, the NBA playoffs, the entire Formula One season, and a bunch more. Sling is easy to set up. It's easy to use, and there's no contracts. Sign up now. Try it absolutely free. Whatever you're into, Biz, well, might want to be careful saying that to you. Sling is where you can find the live sports you love all in one place. Go to sling.com/Barstool to sign up now and try it for free. And now we go to David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period and the NHL Network. What's up, Whit?
Quickly before, shout out Sling, but little breaking news.
Ooh.
The Colorado Avalanche have added to their team by trading for Josh Manson from the Anaheim Ducks.
Get the fuck out of here. What a trade. That's a great
Colorado
trade.
Avalanche went and got a playoff-type performer, a dirty, mean motherfucker to play in front of the net and make Colorado even better than they already were. Wow.
What'd they give up before we
I don't know. I just saw it hit Twitter. We'll go to Pagnotta now, and we'll discuss this a little bit if we have the details after. So here's Dave Pagnotta. Thank you so much for joining.
And now it's time to bring on our trade deadline correspondent this year. You know him from the Fourth Period and the NHL Network, and he's making his debut on Spittin' Chiclets today. David Pagnotta, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast. How's it going, my man?
It's going great, boys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Your phone lines must be burned up. We got another week for the deadline. Who's the guy most likely to stay where he is and not going anywhere? A name we're hearing a lot, but he's going to stay put.
Probably Klingberg in Dallas. I mean, as much as I think everybody knows in that situation, this is last year as a star, but the injury to Heiskanen or the illness to Heiskanen with mono and with the team in the thick of things in the playoff race, it just sounds like they're going to hang tight for the most part. And I don't think Klingberg, unless they get blown away, I think he's sticking in Dallas for the rest of the season.
Any truth to the rumor Heiskanen got it for making out with every cocktail server at Bottle Blonde in Dallas, or is that just a rumor over the airwaves?
How much of an insider are you, Pags?
There's certain things I can say and certain things I can't, but you never know. I've heard, Bottle Blonde, maybe the Moxies over there. You never know.
Oh, the Moxies is pretty deadly. Yep, you never know. The Sparklers will get you every time.
That's true. They do a good job over there.
I mean, when you're in the sixth grade, Biz, it was the kissing disease. So that's the automatic joke. You make it if you got mono.
How else do you get it? Lack of sleep?
I don't know. Oh.
just
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
mugging it up.
Straight up making out.
Okay, we don't have any capologists or doctors on here, so we'll stick to the trade talks.
Right.
Well, actually, talking about the trades, it seems like right now nothing's happened since Toffoli went to Calgary. A lot of people are saying that it may end up being real slow, which usually ends up backfiring when all of a sudden the trades start, flying in. But what's your opinion in terms of the action leading up to Monday? Because many years before this, we've seen all the deals kind of get done, and James Duthie gets held, stuck holding the bag for TSN for 15 hours. Are we worried about nothing really going on at all this year, or just you think it'll pick up a little bit?
I think it'll pick up. I mean, you go back to last season with there was, I think, day 12 to 5 leading up to the deadline. I think there was one trade, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it just kept going. I think there was 6 trades the day before the deadline last year, and then D-Day was pretty solid. It wasn't the greatest, but it was pretty solid. There was activity. I think we're going to follow that trend this year. Cap plays a big factor in it. A lot of teams are waiting on there's a ton of D that are out there, right? And teams are trying to see, all right, well, is Anaheim, are they going to sign Lindholm? Are they not? Is he going to walk? Is he going to test the market? Does that mean they're going to trade him? And then because he's right up on everyone's list, right? And then if he gets moved, or if teams find out they're not going to be able to afford him, then it's Sherratt, Giordano, it's DeHaan, and some of the other guys that are out there. So we got a mix between the cap situation and then just guys kind of waiting. And that's, for the most part, why the market is so quiet at the moment.
For the way that Anaheim's trending, you think that they would try to load up on picks and prospects because they have Manson, Raquel, and also Lindholm. So two pretty solid sought-after D who are hitting UFA this offseason. Do you see them kind of selling off and giving up on the season, so to speak?
I think they don't want to divert from their kind of rebuild plan out there. So it makes the most sense. Now they're still trying to see if they can get Lindholm locked in. The mindset was for him, at least from what I was told, was that he wanted to test the free agent market. And now with Verbeek coming in as the GM, can he convince him to stick around? Can they make it work? He's open to it, I think, but it doesn't sound like they're getting there. So I think they're going to go that route. I think Raquel's gone. I think Manson's the bubble guy in Anaheim of all their guys that are out there as UFA. And Delorier is another guy that a lot of teams like as a bottom 6 guy. So Manson wants to stay. Can they work that out? And that's also one of the reasons I think they haven't pushed the contract side too much with him, because I think they know he wants to stick around. Plus, the Leafs would love to have this guy, but he's on their no trade or on his no trade. And just like Edmonton, those are 2 teams that want to get this guy, but Edmonton and Toronto are 2 teams on his no trade. So it doesn't sound like he's willing to waive it.
Toronto end up on somebody's no trade?
Have you seen other fans act, Biz, you idiot?
It's not easy up here, guys. I know there's a lot of BS that goes around, as you guys know, but this market here in Toronto is you can have a great game one day and a decent one the next, and you'll be plastered all over the city and chirped on the radio and everything.
I jumped on Dragger's bandwagon, and now is this one still a possibility? Sid to the Abs. I know people think I'm crazy, but maybe more so as a mentor and a guy who could maybe calm McKinnon down because he's a fucking snap show out there.
He's just busting out these all over the place. Can't do that. Can't do that. My bad. I think for the most part, I mean, look, Pittsburgh's trying to get Gino and Letang locked in to some extensions, right? So I think, I don't know. I don't think that's going to, you can tell me I'm a fucking idiot. I know you're pushing it. You're pushing it. It makes sense, but I don't see him leaving Pittsburgh.
Okay. What are you hearing that Letang and Malkin want money and term wise?
I don't think it's going to be overly you're definitely not getting into the long term. Yeah, it's nothing crazy. I think they both have an understanding. If you're looking at a 3-year term for both of these guys, okay, and then money wise, probably around what they're banking in now. Might be a little less.
Wow.
On Gino's side of things, might be less. I think Letang, for me, he's still one of the most underrated defensemen out there ever. The way that Letang plays, I don't think he gets enough credit for how good he's been. So I'm not sure where the money is going to really be, if it's going to be similar to where he's at. But I think shorter term, I think for Malkin, it'll be obviously less than what he's pulling in now. But I think for Letang, it'll be in and around that ballpark.
So to clarify, Sid not going to the Avs. Any possibility that Flower ends up back in Pittsburgh, and or where the fuck is Flower going? And please tell me the Toronto Maple Leafs. And if not, I'm logging off this goddamn Zoom call.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. I can't see it being the Leafs. I'm sorry. I don't see him. If he's going to go for it, he's going for it again. And as much as there's a ton of talent on the Leafs, I think there's still too many holes from a playoff perspective, from the way that these cup winners are built. I think there's still too many holes on this team. They're filling them, but I don't think they're there yet. Pittsburgh, it is, I will say, that's the stealth team for me with Flower. As a backup, going in there with Jari, they got to make the money work. Chicago has to eat half. They might have to get another third team in there, and there are teams that are willing to do it. But I think if there's a stealth team that comes into the mix, I could definitely see it being Pitt. I still think Colorado is going to end up figuring something out here, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's Pittsburgh.
If Colorado's going to figure something out to get Flower?
To get Flower in there, yeah. Again, similar. It's a money situation, and Kemper has really stepped up lately. But I think going into the stretch, if you can get another guy that's capable of really holding it down, and you're getting Flower, let's say, what is it, 3.5, 2 million, less than 2 million if it's really 75 cents on the dollar.
1.75.
There you go. Good job, math. Then yeah, I think they would jump at that.
It makes a lot of sense now with the Landeskog surgery and the Girard on the LTIR about Giroux possibly going to Colorado. We've been hearing that seems like such a natural fit. What are you hearing in terms of him? And he's made it clear he wants to play his 1,000th game as a Flyer, which would be Thursday. But after that, what are we looking at? Is Colorado the front runner there? Or is it just too hard to say?
I think Florida is right there. I think the Cats would love to get their hands on him, and I think that they are in the thick of things trying to make it happen. If there is a front runner, I'm kind of leaning Florida's route. I think the Avs would like to make it happen. The issue with Colorado and the injuries, I think Landeskog is, after the surgery, which I think he's having today, Monday,
Yep.
I think it's a 4 or 5 week window. Now, unless there's a setback, there's 7 weeks left in the season. So unless there's a setback, he may have to come back early, and that eliminates that $7+ million of his potential LTI space. So that's the tricky part. And despite contrary, to popular belief with Tampa and Vegas and all that, the league looks at this and they keep tabs on everything. So if he's ready to go in 5 weeks and they hold him off for 2, the league's going to step in. So that's
you think
that's
so?
the tough part.
I don't know. I don't know. How are they deciding on Stone? That's a hard thing for the league to come in, because the guy could be like, I'm not ready. That's a difficult thing to get into the water with, They're
going to have, and they have their doctors that review everything and check things out. And I mean, if it's a matter of a couple of days or something like that, give or take, then it's a lot to let it go. But if it's a 2-week window and he's ready in 4 and he hits the ice and he can start going in 5, they're going to look at that. And they made that clear to teams again this season, that if you're trying to push it and trying to really extend things as much as you can, we're going to be on you for it.
I got one quick one, RA, before you hop in here. The Giroux to Florida, Talkett said it best. It seems like overkill. They have one of the best, if not the best, high-flying offenses in the league.
Yeah.
They aren't really dealing, I don't think at least, with injury up front. Why would you want to mess with that chemistry? Like, who are they going to get rid of to bring them in? And maybe is it like a cock block type of situation so other teams don't get them?
I think that's part of it. I think that's part of the scenario where it's okay. Well, are the Rangers in it? Are they pushing? They've had those conversations. Do we feel we're enough to be a cup contender? And do we want to meet Colorado in the final with Giroux on it? I think that's playing a factor in it. But I think at the same time, for this team, we're so stacked, and Bobrovsky's solid and the decor's solid. Go all in, and they can afford to do it in terms of what they can give up, because they've got a loaded farm. They got a lot of good assets. So it's the go for it, go big or go home kind of mentality. I'm not saying it's going to happen for sure, but they're in there. And they've been in on Lindholm. They were in on Klingberg for a while. They're trying to make something big happen in terms of what's available. It would not shock me at all. I think they're right up there.
Trade for Giroux and healthy him.
Well, and they made an offer.
Yeah, that's the other one.
They made an offer for Chychrun in January that didn't go down. And then now apparently I was reading some things. I think it was LeBron mentioning that they're not in the mix. So, yeah, Florida's obviously somewhat big game hunting right now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Arizona wanted Lundell as part of exactly. That was not. Yeah.
So they can trade him in 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, no, that's good.
Hey, Dave, what guys are all but guaranteed to be somewhere else in a week?
Sherratt, Giordano. I'd put money down on Raquel. I think he's done. Unless they really convince, as I said, Lindholm. I think his mindset was set on, as I said earlier, testing the market in the summer. I'd put him up there. Calvin DeHaan's going to get moved. Trying to think who else.
What about Phil? What about Phil the Thrill out in Arizona?
Yeah, they got to get creative there because he's at a. I mean, it's the cap hit. It's not the money. I mean, it's his $5 million bonus was paid July 1. It's only $1 million that's getting spread out in salary, but he's got a $6.8 million cap hit. So if they eat half of that, you're still probably going to need another team, and it can't be them. So you're going to need another team, Buffalo, maybe the Habs, maybe Ottawa, Seattle, to retain a chunk of that too. So if they can pull that off, I think Phil's gone. But I think it really comes down to how creative they can get cap wise.
Thomas Hurd, I poked around about him. It sounds like he really wants to stay there. San Jose really wants to keep him here. The last thing they want to do is trade him. You getting that same sense?
Yeah, I think they're close. I think we're probably in the next couple of days here, sometime this week, we're going to get a good indication on him. I think it's close. Probably going full term, 7-8 years to keep him there in San Jose. But they've made it clear that was their priority, and he likes it there. So he's also said, you got to pay me. And I don't blame him. So I think they're getting there.
Anything on Tampa? You know, I don't know necessarily how many guys in the minors and the prospect pool as to who they can give up. I do believe they have some first rounders they can. Do you see them maybe giving up another first rounder in order to add to the bottom six of that team, or maybe even on the back end? I don't think they need anyone on the back end though.
No, bottom six. You're right. I think Tyler Mott's a guy in Vancouver that they'd like to get. And his cap hit's only 1.225, I believe. So it's a low cap hit. If you get Vancouver to eat half, I mean, that's whatever, 600, 700,000. So, and change. The problem is they legit have no space. So if they're moving somebody, if they're bringing in somebody, probably someone is moving out. They got to get really creative.
Cooper's going to go on the long-term IR, I heard.
Right. Free up a little bit of his.
My insiders tell me that anyway.
A guy that I actually hate because he beat us in a sandbagger because of a scumbag drop by his partner, Zach Werenski, but Andrew Kopp. I saw an injury happen recently, but I mean, I got to imagine he's a guy that would be on every team radar, whether if he's healthy or not. What have you hearing out of Winnipeg?
Yeah, no real contract talks either. And he's a UFA. So, that's another one for teams that are looking at that bottom six. Like Tampa would love to get him. I don't know how they make that money work at all, even if it's half or even if it's less than that. Toronto, the Rangers, there are a few other teams that are looking around and seeing how they can get somebody of his caliber that they can bring into their bottom six. So I think the writing's on the wall for the Jets. I think it's just a matter of them kind of eating it and realizing it's not going to happen this year. And then him and Paul Stastny's the other guy. If you're looking for a vet up the middle for your fourth line or something like that, he's another guy that they're going to listen on.
In your opinion, what happened with Winnipeg this year? Was Maurice leaving that much of an effect, or was this team going to do this regardless of who coached them, the way they were constructed? Yeah,
it kind of looked like they were having that down season. I mean, as good as Kyle Connor's having an amazing year, top 5 in goals, but you know, they had some injuries, and you know, Wheeler wasn't there full term in terms of on the ice, and Scheifele got hurt, and he hasn't been the same kind of guy he was in the past. Hellebuck hasn't either. I think that it was just kind of like a perfect storm for them, that of guys just not being able to hit what they're normally, you know, used to. So I think it's just an off year for that team, but it also shows that and reemphasizes the fact that they got holes on that blue line. They still don't have that stud back there that can really kind of guide a defense. They got some good guys, but not that clear-cut one. It's going to be tough for them to get it, but I think they're going to be looking this summer to try to figure that out.
What about in Boston, where they have just played some phenomenal hockey lately? Craig Smith and Charlie Coyle have picked it up, and now you're looking at a team whose window is kind of small. I mean, it's like now or never, it seems. Like, what are they looking at? I know they're looking for D help. Are they just in the mix on all these D that are out there?
I mean, that, and they're also poking around to see what kind of guys may fall. The price may fall on a few guys up front, like Raquel and a few others. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they get on that game. The thing is, like, there's so many defensemen that are out there. The prices are probably going to drop for some of the depth kind of guys. But in terms of forwards, there's not that many. I mean, top 6 guys, there's 2 or 3. And then you got a bunch of bottom 6 guys. If you're really looking, and it's not just Boston, but other teams, if you're really looking to bring in somebody of legit value to your forward core, they're probably going to have term on it. Like, Pittsburgh would love to bring somebody in on the left side on the second line, but if you're doing it, you're probably getting a guy with term. So it's a bigger type of deal. I think for the Bruins, probably focus on a depth D. And then if something falls in your lap because the price dropped for a guy up front, then you kind of pounce on it.
Unless I've blacked out over the course of the Zoom call, I don't think we've talked about JT Miller. And then all of a sudden I keep hearing that Vancouver is very interested in Marino. So is that a possibility for a top 6 and JT Miller to maybe go over to Pittsburgh and then flopping for a young prospect D like Marino?
I think it's Connor Garland. I think Garland is the guy. I think they want to keep JT Miller. And he's, especially throughout all this and all the talk and all the speculation that's out there. I mean, he's voiced it. He's saying it's a lot for us to take in, and we've got to hear this crap every day. And I get it. It's not easy. But I think they want to hold on to him. I think they're trying to figure out a way to keep him long-term. They'll figure it out in the summer. There's no rush because he's got another year on his deal. But I think him, Brock Besser are the 2 guys that are out there in terms of the talk. I think they want to hold on to these guys. I think Connor Garland is the guy that they're trying to move. Or are more willing to move, I should say. And I think that's where the centerpiece is around with Pittsburgh.
Why so quickly on the Garland? Has it not worked out there? Like, what's...
He's been solid. I just think it's a different mentality. You know, Benning and that crew's out. So now you've got Rutherford and Alvin. I just think those guys, they have a different mindset for how this team is going to be shaped. And do you want this guy, if he's not going to connect on your top 6, do you want that kind of player at that money on your third line? Doesn't sound like they want that. I would. It may not happen by the deadline, and this is the one that I hope happens. Quite frankly, because it's going to be a bigger hockey type trade, and that always spices things up. But I think that's more likely to happen in the summer.
I look over to Philly and the disappointment there this year, and everyone was like, "Oh, Ristolainen available," and now all of a sudden he re-signs, and Provorov's playing the worst hockey of his career. What's going on in Philly besides Giroux? Are they looking at all options? Yeah, they are. I mean, you've got Justin Braun, that's another guy very likely getting moved. I would probably say he is. And that's a guy that is up there. I think he's 35, but I mean, there are teams that definitely value what he brings to the table. But look, if they get something creative going with Travis Konechny and they can make a bigger type of deal, like we were talking, like Vancouver, Pittsburgh, that kind of arrangement, if it's a talent for talent swap, and maybe you add a few things in there, I think they're open to that possibility. They almost traded him in the summer. And teams have been poking around again. So I could see that happening. Travis Sanheim is playing great this year, but I think there's some teams that really like this guy. And again, this might be a summer type deal because these are so much more complicated with guys with term. But I mean, they're open to that possibility. I think Konechny more so than Sanheim right now. But Philly's just looking at their roster going, there's no rebuild happening in Philly, not with the message coming from up top. It's figure it out on the fly and let's get back into playoff mode next season and figure it out quick.
I just got a text from Grinnell. Now this one sounds juicy, especially the reuniting with Panarin.
I have no idea where you're headed right now. I don't know if it's legit or Crosby to the end.
I don't even care if it's a fucking rumor.
Oh, Kaner?
Kaner to the Rangers. Is this an actual possibility? Tell me it is.
I think they've reached out. I think they've talked. I know that Colorado and a few other teams have reached out and said, hey, when you're ready, give us a call. I don't know if it happens now, but I think Chicago's going to have that conversation with them if they haven't already. And Pat, his agent, and say, look, this is what we're going through. You got another year left on your deal. I know you're saying all the right things publicly, and it's a good thing he is, but I think probably in the summer we're going to hear more about this. If it doesn't happen now, I think in the summer you're going to hear more. And look, the Rangers make a ton of sense because of Panarin. Reunite those guys. They've got money. They've got space. This could be something. I know guys are going up in the summer.
I got my hands in my pants right now.
There you go.
Keep talking.
Get that sock. and I think it's something we're going to hear more about. Definitely.
The Rangers are interesting because I don't think they really have a team that can win the Stanley Cup. Not yet. But when you have a goalie like this, realistically, you could get it done. So it's like, are they just so early in are they ahead of where they thought they'd be, and so they're kind of standing pat, or is Drury really making calls and looking at what's going on?
No, he's looking. Yeah, I think they are ahead, but at the same time, I think this is another scenario where if the right thing kind of falls in place, why not? Like, go for it. They've got cap space this year. They've got about $10 million next year, and yeah, I know they've got Strome that they're going to have to figure out, and a couple other guys. But I mean, look, the Kane thing. If he does go anywhere, it's not at the $10 million. It's Chicago's going to eat some of that money, and is it half? Is it 60, 70%, whatever it is? You're going to get him at less than his cap hit, and you're going to get him at above market value, or like you're getting a deal basically in terms of the dollars when it comes to Kane if he is moved. So I think if the right thing falls into place with the Rangers, I think Drury is open to pretty much anything at this point. It's just a matter of, is it going to happen now over these next 7 days, or is it going to happen in the summer?
Another team that's had an off year, the Islanders, Dave. Are they going to sell any assets? I know Clutterbuck's one of the few UFAs they have. Are they just going to write it off as shit, we had a bad year and just start next year over? Or are they going to maybe try to move some pieces, maybe get some picks or prospects?
I think a combo. Like, I don't see them just moving out. Like, Parise and Green and Char are all UFAs too. I don't think they're just going to move these guys for the sake of it, unless, one of them goes to Lou and says, look, I wouldn't mind chasing a cup. I'm a free agent. What do you think? But other than that, they're listing on Clutterbuck. They're listing on Varlamov, who's got 1 year left, which makes it a little more difficult. And it may affect the value too. I was talking to a few people around the league, and they're like, well, would it make sense to trade him now when there are other goalies in the market and teams are up against the cap? You're probably going to get a less return for him now than you would in the summer. And Lou just wants to, if he's going to move him, they're just going to max the return. So I think for the most part, it's going to be fairly quiet on the island. If they figure something out with Barley, great. Otherwise, Clutterbuck for a pick, and that might be the gist of it.
Another team, too, the LA Kings. I'd say it's a surprise year for them and their fans. I mean, are they just going to kind of maybe try to pick up some depth? Do you see them swinging for the fences at all? And B, is Todd McClellan going to win the Jack Adams?
Man, like the way that they've been playing this year, I mean, they've just been lately just ruined with injuries. I mean, Dustin Brown's going to be out. It might be till the end of the season. They've got Anderson out. They've got Athanasiou out. They've got a bunch of guys. Before all these injuries, I mean, and they're still in the thick of things for Chikrin. They would love to get him. And I think if we're talking about front runners on anyone, I think LA's in that mix. And they're also looking for a top six guy with term. But then all these injuries happen, and it complicates things a little bit. I think they get into the rental game a little. I don't think they go for any of the bigger boys, but I think they try to shore up their roster a little bit, bring in some depth guys that can hold the fort down until some of these other guys kind of come back. But yeah, I mean, look, the way that Todd's been kind of running the team this year, I think a lot of people expected them. Maybe they're going to fight for a wild card, but second in the division right now, I don't think anybody pegged them in that top three. So he's done a really good job, not only from that perspective, but also Sean Walker was supposed to be a top four guy for this club, and he's been out pretty much since the first month of the season. And they haven't really and Edler's been hurt. So they haven't really brought in anyone outside the organization to kind of help that. And they're still rolling. So I think he deserves a ton of credit for the way that he's kept this team together in the hunt.
What are we thinking about come Monday, 3:30 Eastern? Do the Leafs have another goalie on an airplane going to Toronto? What is going on there? Like, they have to, right? Because would you agree that if they lose in the first round, Dubas is gone?
Oh God. I think they're going to have that discussion. I think you have to. I mean, like, I don't know if they actually pull it off, but I mean, it's either Florida, Tampa, or if they fall into a wild card spot, it's Carolina. Like, I don't think they're better than any of those three teams. I don't. So I don't know what they pull off. If it's a goalie, again, it's not going to be anybody that's going to really, unless they're going after John Gibson, like, unless you're going after a legit number one somewhere, I just don't see it. I don't see the point. Yeah, Mrazek's been not that great. I mean, last night or yesterday, makes a big glove save. Everybody's all hyped up, and then boom, right.
Let's not talk about that. We don't need to talk about that.
Something that, sorry, but it's just, I don't know if they got to go. I think they still prioritize the.
You mentioned Giordano is a for sure move. Is he going back to Calgary? Is that most likely going to happen?
I still think they like Sherratt. I think they still want to pull something off there for Sherratt. Now, if the price is a little too high and it's less for Giordano and Seattle's going to eat half his deal, I don't know exactly if that's enough from a money side of things to make it work. But I think he's definitely. I mean, they've talked about it, so I think Sherratt's still their priority in terms of but that could happen. Look, Florida's there. Carolina's had the talks. Toronto as well has had the discussion. So. And Toronto's a team, whether you're a righty or a lefty, just come in. We need somebody. So they're looking at both angles.
Are the Habs going to play themselves out of good lottery odds at this stage?
Yeah, way to go, Marty.
Stay hot.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's good to see the kids really rolling. Sherratt's going to go. So how's that going to affect? And he's been, I think 9 points in 10. He's been good. Kulak, probably a good chance he's dealt as well. Lehkonen. I mean, are there going to be other pieces that they could potentially move out? Is a team going to look at Mike Hoffman and say, all right, if the price isn't too high, he's got a few years left, maybe we go this route. But I mean, look, the way Caulfield's playing and Suzuki and Pitlick and Josh Anderson and those guys, like St. Louis really gotten these guys and their confidence back in at where it should be. I still think they're going to be a bottom three, but then we'll see where the balls drop. But I mean, he's doing a hell of a job. I think he sticks around as well. I think he's locking in.
Oh yeah.
What about? I know it's been an off year, but the 4 or 5 years prior, Jeff Petrie was a legitimate top four defenseman, and he's got a little term. Is there any rumblings that teams would be looking for him? Because I feel like if you need a D, you believe he can get there and kind of turn everything around this year and really help a contender.
Yeah, and he stepped up too. Like since the change, like Sherratt's been coming in with a bunch of points and playing great at both ends. Petrie's woken up as well and kind of gotten things going with him. And the mindset there hasn't changed. Like he still would like to be traded. They've told him that if we can make something work, we'll do it, but don't bank on it being deadline time. So if it doesn't happen now, it'll probably happen in the summer, but I think both sides kind of understand that and they're cool with it. But yeah, that's another guy. And because of the term, is it going to be a lower price for him versus, I mean, a bigger, like again, Sherratt or Lindholm or something like that. So teams are trying to weigh that out. But yeah, I know Dallas was in on him, or at least had a conversation a while back because he's got term, and Klingberg is going to leave at some point. But I think this is going to be Petrie's last year in Montreal.
I think we've literally asked you about every single guy in the league at this point. If there's one guarantee trade that's going to happen before Monday, let's hear your stamp of approval right now. Calling your shot. I can't tell me one.
I can't. I can tell you. Well, I told you guys that are going to move, but whether it's like if St. Louis comes out of nowhere and says, "All right, we're going to pay up and get Lindholm," then I mean, I wouldn't expect it. But the Blues they're looking for a D as well, so I wouldn't expect it. So I wouldn't call them, but I wouldn't shock me. So I could, like I said, the guys that I think are going to go that I mentioned, I think they're gone, but it's going to come down to what team kind of flinches first.
All right.
Well, let's hope for
just give us activity, right?
Yeah, Manic Monday, at least. If not leading up to it, I think there'll be a ton of things that end up going down, but hopefully it's kind of, that Monday afternoon sprint to the finish. But we really appreciate you coming on, and it's a long time overdue, so we appreciate it, Dave.
You got it. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Our pleasure, Dave.
Sit to the abs.
Oh, man, I want to say thanks a bunch to Dave of the Fourth Period in the NHL Network for joining us for the first time. We appreciate his insight. The guy is wired into all the goings-on in the NHL, so big thanks to him. His interview was also brought to you by our friends at TaylorMade, and I'll leave it to our golf buddies.
I'll take it over here. Doesn't matter if you got a quarter swing, a half swing. The new Carbon Wood driver is now in stores. The future of driver performance begins with the TaylorMade Carbon Wood Twist Face. Comprised of 60 layers of carbon sheets strategically arranged for better energy transfer and faster ball speeds across the large area of the face. After 20 years in the making, 20 years, folks, the limits of titanium have been broken. Introducing the TaylorMade Stealth Carbon Wood driver. Welcome to the Carbon Wood age. Fill your bag with the entire Stealth family line. Not just the driver, folks. Fairways, rescues, and irons are also available now. Own your swing by making the club your own. Introducing My Stealth driver. With 5 options of personalization, build a My Stealth driver that fits your game and your eye. Where do you go to do that, folks? You're going to visit TaylorMadeGolf.com/Barstool to check out our TaylorMade and Barstool golf gear as well. Not just the drivers, not just the irons, not just the fairway woods, all of it, folks. TaylorMade Stealth Carbon Wood driver is in stores now along with the rest of the family. So check it out. How about me crushing that fucking ad read? And folks, like I said, it doesn't matter if you got the half swing, the quarter swing. I'll be carrying the team and the sandbaggers with this in my bag. Suck it, Whit.
Why are you saying suck it? We're partners, bud.
I don't know why I said that. I kind of panicked at the end. I'm sorry.
It stinks. It stinks.
My apologies.
It's all right.
But I have carried us the last 2 matches.
We talked about one Boston sports legend earlier with Tom Brady. Well, another one had his number retired this weekend. Kevin Garnett. I know you're not the biggest NBA guy, but this is a pretty significant thing, man. I mean, the Celtics were kind of dormant for a while. They won the next NBA title in 2008. They almost won the next year. And it was pretty cool because him and Ray Allen, they've had some disagreements over the years, and Ray Allen flew in town for it. He called them out during the retirement ceremony. It's just a pretty cool ceremony. Did you catch any of it?
My dad was at the game with a good buddy and said it was pretty cool. Garnett, I'm not a big basketball guy. Everyone knows that, sick league, but he is the ultimate competitor, lunatic leader you want. I mean, the anything's possible screaming into the camera after they won it all was an all-time moment. Just a lunatic on the court, the shit talking, and I mean,
dropping more N-bombs than anybody.
My God, he was vicious. I think people were afraid of him. What happened between him and Ray Allen? Is it because of when Allen left for the Heat? RA?
That was supposedly what happened. Yeah, he was pissed that Ray left for the Heat, and he thought they could have, possibly won on the title. And he's not wrong about that. And he was upset about it for a while, and there was always a bunch of controversy and friction with him. But the fact that Ray Allen flew in for his number retirement, and he called him out to bring him out on the court, and then when Paul Pierce runs out and they did like the triple hug, man. Like, look, I'm a Bird Chief McHale guy. I'm an 80s Celtics guy, but to see that, I don't know how your heart would move, even as a Celtics fan, an NBA fan, to see Paul Pierce run out and hug those two guys. It was awesome. It was like, okay, bygones are bygones. They buried the hatchet. It was stupid that they probably argued about it anyways, but yeah, it was a great thing. And it felt like that this team should have won more titles here, but they brought the champion status back to the Celtics, and I think they should be remembered for that, and they're going to be. So.
And also, I mean, they were up 3-2 in that other series and lost both games in LA to lose that title. But
that was one of the worst game 7s that I've ever seen in my life. I think that Meta World Peace carried the game.
They got trucked. But one of the guy Walter Norton I trained with Keith Yandel and Kyle Palmieri, Wagner, all trained with them. IPF Fitness in Andover, Massachusetts. This guy was a beast. He still is as a trainer. Walter, showed him out. He was the trainer of that Celtics team, and he used to tell these unreal stories about Garnett just getting in guys' faces, calling out anyone in the room if they weren't doing their job. The workouts he'd do, apparently he was fanatical about being in there, working his balls off. Didn't matter if it was a game day, didn't matter if it was after games. Like, just the type of leader that you hear about and you're like naturally kind of a little scared of him, but also respect the hell out of him if you're on his team. So I thought Garnett, just like when he came to Boston, everything changed. I mean, I wasn't a big Hoop fan, like I said, but you could tell right away, like, to come straight from high school, too, the way he did, he must have gained like 40 pounds throughout his career. He was rail thin and then just turned into a Hall of Famer. So I was surprised his number wasn't already retired.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just a matter of waiting for it, and the Celtics have so many numbers retired with like guys who've done a lot of stuff to get the numbers retired. Maybe it was just waiting for that. But, yeah, I think it was a no-brainer that it would have with Garnett. So, yeah, awesome Boston legend. I wish he was here longer and they won more titles, but the fact that they won one and reestablished the Celtics' dominance, that was good stuff, anyways. So we talked about Brady earlier, but this is something we didn't bring up. Is one guy paid over $500,000 for Brady's last touchdown ball, and then he retired later that day. I'm sorry, came out of retirement, fake retirement later that day. So this guy paid.
Wait, he paid for it yesterday?
Yeah, how Scott?
Oh my God, that happened! I thought that happened a couple weeks ago.
How'd you like to be the guy? Well, how'd you like to be the guy who just brought Brady's last NFL TD?
Holy fuck, RA, get it together,
Spit
dude.
it out, RA. Did you smoke crack in the middle of this episode or something?
Holy fuck!
No, I don't have these fucking.
Just brought that up.
I don't have these fucking things on.
Yeah, it's the glasses.
How'd you like to be the guy who just bought Brady's last NFL TD ball at auction for $500,000? So
our parents are the only ones listening. All right, nobody cares.
That's an awful. My parents, they gave up a long time ago on this show. That is an awful beat for that guy. But you know what? Personally, you're an idiot if you're spending that much money on something like that. It's like, dude,
Exactly.
you have a football. Like,
exactly. Who gives
who
a fuck?
cares?
Who gives a fuck about his last TD pass? Big fucking dope.
The only thing, like, I never understand the money spent on these sports memorabilia artifacts. It's so odd to me that like you'd be willing to. Now, granted, if this guy's like, he's got $300 million, 500 grand's nothing, but to be willing to spend that much money on something that then just like sits in your room and you look at, it's like, it's so odd to me.
It's a fucking waste of money. Biz, do you not agree? It's a waste of money?
No, I just want to hear you keep talking.
Okay. We can do that.
Go ahead, all right.
All right.
Give us a grind in your gears.
Okay. Oh, perfect. All right. I had one more thing before that. But, yeah, my grind my gears. We didn't do it last week. We were running a little long on time. But my grind my gears, it's very specific to Boston. It's fucking bike lanes in Boston. Okay,
bikers are gonna come gunning for you.
Listen, okay, and that's why I specifically said bike lanes in Boston. Okay, I'm not saying bike lanes don't work everywhere else or they can't work everywhere else. Bike lanes in Boston are a fucking joke. Okay, this city is a fucking 500 years old. The roads are made up of cow pats. The only planned fucking neighborhoods in this city are South Boston and the Back Bay. Cow pats, yeah. They used to be cow pats. The North End, Charlestown. You ever see the fucking streets here?
What's a pat? I thought it was cow pasture. No, it's a pat. Is that
a cow pasture is where cows shit. A cow path is a path that cows walk down.
Oh, path. I thought you said pats because your accent and your speech is just okay.
No,
go ahead.
My speech is fucking fine right now.
He's got the time release edible. Towards the end of the episode.
I'd fucking murder for one right now, Biz. Cow paths in Boston, they're brutal. This fucking city is old. The roads aren't built to fucking accommodate fucking 2 lanes of fucking cars, let alone bikes. What they do, though, now is they take away a fucking road, a lane on a road, and they put a bike path in. It's the stupidest fucking thing ever. Listen, people in this city are not going to give up their cars and getting bikes. They're not going to give up their cars in the suburbs and driving to fucking the city. The people who want these bike paths think we're going to put a bike path in, and then people are going to go, oh, it's easier to drive in the city. No, it's fucking not. It's fucking dangerous. It's a dangerous city to drive your fucking bike in. It's brutal. Listen, I worked at Columbia Road in Dorchester. It's out in the hood between fucking Upham's Corner and Blue Hole Avenue. I would see fucking 2 bikes a day go down this bike path. They literally took a whole fucking lane.
It's crazy.
They took a whole fucking lane out of a major thoroughfare in the fucking city of Boston and made it a fucking bike lane. Think about that. There's 2 fucking car lanes. You're taking a fucking lane of cars away to put a bike lane in that fucking 10 fucking people are using a day.
And in a city that you can ride a bike outdoor 4 months out of the 12 a year.
That too, and fucking and no one's gonna just say, "Oh, well, there's a bike lane. I'm gonna trade in my fucking car and drive a fucking bike in and get fucking run over." And it's ridiculously fucking dangerous too. You know how many fucking ghost bikes are in the city? A ghost bike, and it's awful. It's a tragic thing when somebody gets killed driving a bike in any major city. They put a white bike out there like as a ghost bike because that's symbolic of where someone got killed. And there's fucking tons of them around here because it's a fucking stupid, dangerous place to ride a bike. You don't take fucking major fucking lanes away in a major city. And again, I'm not saying like it doesn't work in Amsterdam or it might not work in fucking Oakland or San Fran. In Boston, it's a fucking joke. And this fucking mayor of ours is
so many F-bombs.
Sorry, dude. And also, Biz, it takes away fucking from businesses. Now, if you put a fucking bike lane in and you can't park there. Now, fucking people can't double park to go get their fucking takeout, or delivery guys can't park there, or they're towing them away. It's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. You ask for grandma gears, that shit grinds my fucking gears.
We got it.
I mean, you could tell that's authentic, folks. That's from a man.
Wow.
That's from a man who possibly doesn't even know how to ride a bike, but
fuck
still.
you, I do.
So I'll tell you a grinds my gears thing, and we chatted about this a couple weeks ago, but we never brought it up on the pod. These airlines and overbooking flights.
That's a good one.
Deep breath
is one of the biggest travesties and should be illegal. I can't get over the fact that you can go, my friend, the Shaws, Mike and Molly Shaw, they came down to visit in Florida. They got to the airport. They bought a seat. You're buying a friggin' seat. You're buying 2 seats on a flight, and you get to the flight, and the airline says, sorry, you don't have a seat. I actually think whoever thought of that idea, whoever's doing that, they should go to prison. How can you plan a vacation?
Well, they're on the yacht right now.
When you are planning a vacation with your family, how can you show up and pay the money to the airline and show up and then be told you don't have a seat? Like, yes, I do. I was online for an hour and a half picking the seats 3 months ago.
You know who did it?
Who?
Boeing.
Fucking murderers.
I'll tell you, I'm sure there's thousands of people listening right now that have booked a flight and planned their entire trip on landing at a certain time, only to get to the airport to be told by this airline, oh, sorry, we overbooked the flight. Like, what are you talking about? How are you even allowed to do that?
It happened to me leaving Nashville. I was like, if I'm late, these guys are going to murder me if I'm not home to fucking record.
Yeah, right. You probably walked up to like, there's no way we're letting this guy.
No, or it's like, hey, anyone looking for a seat? Because I'll take a $500 voucher and give mine up.
No, motherfucker. The only reason I got on the plane was because I was at the mercy of people doing that with. I know it's funny. I'm laughing at the joke, but like legit, I went up. I got to the airport 2 hours early because I went to check in. You know, you could check on your phone. It said you don't have a seat yet. I got to the airport. I left Nashville Broadway fucking 2 hours early. Got there and they're like, oh, you're all set. Okay, sure. Yeah. I went in. I put my fucking boarding pass in. She's like, ding, ding, ding. She's like, oh, well, you don't have a seat yet. I'm like, well, you told me I was all set. And there was another girl there. She was like, shit in her pants. She wasn't going to get on. And listen, the only fucking reason I got home and recorded Chiclets that day was there were 2 other people who needed the flight and they fucking took the $700. Other than that, dude, I would have been stuck there and I would have had you two up my ass yelling at me like it was my fucking fault when it was the fucking asshole airline's fault.
Okay, so let me ask you.
Grinds my gears too.
Why are airlines doing this banking on the fact that some people won't show up? Like it is the most greedy, selfish thing. I don't even know how it's legal.
And this stupid fucking country bailed them out too. Should let them fucking hanging fucking on the ropes years ago. Fucking brutal, dude.
Hey, I can't believe it. I can't believe that you could buy a seat on an airline, get there, and be told you don't have the seat. So I guess, I mean, fuck the airlines.
Fucking right, dude. Like, who defends the airlines?
Try to fly private.
Not to mention they bring let the people bring fucking stupid cats in the fucking plane, Biz, right?
Oh, did you see that peacock on the plane?
You didn't fall for that, did you?
Oh, was that fake?
That was faker than a porn star orgasm. But please tell me you didn't fall for that.
I mean, how is that obviously fake though?
Because there was no noise in the plane, and when they said peacock, the peacock reacted as if they heard it said peacock.
I thought the woman goes, that's the woman sounded pissed, like that's a support animal, like Yeah,
right.
I guess.
And then the peacock having to pop his head up and look at the same time.
See, I'm not going to give it to that was that obviously fake because I had so many people send it to me.
Well,
but
yeah, that's all right.
I mean, I don't know. All right, learn how to ride a bike.
Fuck this bike riding shit. Listen, if you show me off a bike, I would go with that. Fuck that noise. All right, we did that. Yeah, grinds my gears. What else we got? Oh yeah, I made my debut finally after fucking 3 or 4 years. Lights, Camera, Barstool, our movie podcast, here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. I finally made my debut this week. Jeff and Ken Jack had me on. We discussed the movie The Adam Project that Ryan Reynolds just released on Netflix, and we did a director draft. We had a draft directors from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s.
How was the Adam Project? I feel like him and The Rock are just competing for who can be in the most movies ever.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
It's like
the Adam
holy
Project.
shit.
The Adam Project was better than most of The Rock's movies. I guess I'd say, if you're gonna put it that way.
Moana might be better than all of them, though.
I haven't seen Moana yet, but Biz, I you know what? I didn't mind it. I guess I went into it expecting to not wanting to like it at all. But it had a little nostalgia things to it the way they made it. But I think Ryan Reynolds, he's kind of like Deadpool. Like, he can do that Deadpool shtick.
He's the same guy in every movie.
A little bit, yeah. But also, I saw him in Mississippi Grind with Ben Mendelsohn, and I think he showed his range there. He could do a little bit more than just the Deadpool shtick. But when you see him in a movie like what is it, The Adam Project? Yeah, he kind of does the Deadpool thing over and over. It's a movie that a lot of families can sit down and watch and maybe have a lot of laughs together. It's not going to win an Oscar or whatever. I didn't mind it. It was fine. It was fun, but I'm just putting my appearance on Lights, Camera, Barstool after all these fucking years, so I'm happy for that. And also, one other thing, 60 Minutes did a segment on Ted Lasso this week too. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not.
Neither did I.
Too busy watching the Big Deal Selects video that drops this week, Monday and Thursday on the Chiclets YouTube. Unbelievable John by Shaw, but shot a
Are we done
Guys,
here? Is that it?
Yeah. Interesting episode, boys. I'll say this. All you fans that are still listening, we appreciate you. You're insane to still be listening to this, but I think you'll be excited. I'm driving up from Florida to Atlanta. RA and Granelli are flying down. And next week, we get one of these in-person Chiclets episodes. I think they're always better when we're all in the same room. So I look forward to that. We're getting a bunch of interviews. And we will see you guys next week. Peace, love. Thank you so much.